Chapter 1285. The House of Kings had not joined in yet, but their attitude had changed. Many of those who had worked with the Duan family had withdrawn. It would not be long before the Duan family was hit hard again. Lin Xian knew that the Duan family would not be able to take it for a while. He handed over the matters here to the Ninth Elder and the rest, while he returned to the Immortal Martial Academy. Firstly, he wanted to give Shan Jingqiu more than one illusory array to get rid of her inner demons. Secondly, he wanted to forge the Red Lotus armor. In the remote sky secret realm, he had obtained many treasures. Besides precious spiritual herbs and spiritual medicines, he had also obtained many materials for forging weapons. Now, he had enough materials to forge an armor. Therefore, he wanted to forge it so that he could protect himself even if the Duan family retaliated. 3 days later, Lin Xian brought Shan Jingqiu back to Sinmave College. He did not return to the freshman area. Instead, he asked Dean Xian to find him a safe and secluded place. Very quickly, he found a mountain peak. It was located in the core area of the college and was very safe. Furthermore, the spiritual qi was abundant and the environment was friendly. It was very suitable for cultivation. After settling down, Lin Xian started to set up an array. His array skills were very frightening now. Even the array masters in the House of Kings might not be as good as him. Therefore, setting up an illusory array was nothing to him. However, in order to achieve the best effect, Lin Xian spent 120% of his energy in one day to set up an illusory array. Qiu, it's up to you now. Believe in yourself. You can do it. Shan Jingqiu nodded. Don't worry, brother Lin Xian. I can do it. She was also very serious. She knew that this was very important to her. Shan Jingqiu took a deep breath and quickly walked into the illusory array. Lin Xian's original plan was to stay here for 2 days to check on Shan Jingqiu's condition. If there was no danger, he would forge the Red Lotus armor. However, this situation changed after one day. The Crimson Dragon flew out of the demonic beast pouch. Kid, Bin Huang is awake. Lin Xian, on the other hand, had a look of surprise on his face. Could it be that your recovery failed? How could he fail? Is Bin Huang that bad? That's not right. If you succeed, shouldn't you be shouting in the sky? Why are you so honest now? You didn't even celebrate your breakthrough? Bah. Is Bin Huang so shallow that he has to make a fuss just because he has recovered his strength? The Crimson Dragon blushed, but fortunately, his whole body was red, so no one could see the awkwardness. Humph, kid. You've been with me for so long. You don't understand Bin Huang at all. You've only recovered to the 9th heavenly layer. What's there to be happy about? Although it was humble and said that it was unhappy, its tail was already wagging. Lin Xian rolled his eyes. All right, we'll celebrate when you return to the challenger level. I have a task for you. Help me look after the illusion array. What are you going to do? The Crimson Dragon asked. Then, he glanced at the array in front of him and exclaimed softly, Oh, this array's engraving is not bad. Kid, you've improved. Lin Xian was also a little proud. Then, he said, I'm going to refine the Red Lotus armor. The person inside is my friend. Look after her. Don't let anything happen to her. After that, Lin Xian left. The Crimson Dragon looked inside and saw a hazy figure. It's a little beauty. This kid is good. He's quite fast. He actually found another beauty. How shameful. How depraved. The Crimson Dragon muttered. Then, he brought out the snow-white monkey. The two of them hugged spiritual fruits and spiritual wine and ate to their heart's content. On the other side, Lin Xian was in seclusion to refine the Red Lotus armor. With a wave of his hand, the 10,000 beast ding appeared. At the same time, countless materials floated in the air. These materials were very precious. Each of them could make the experts of the Tianwu continent go crazy. Many of them were even materials for refining Earth-rank artifacts. Fortunately, Lin Xian had the blueprint. Moreover, his soul power was strong. That was why he could inscribe the inscriptions on the blueprint bit by bit. Otherwise, he would not be able to refine the armor. While Lin Xian was refining the armor, the outside world was not peaceful. Under the great temptation of the longevity pill, someone finally made a move. The star mineral vein. There was a huge mineral vein here. Inside it was the precious metal star steel. This mineral vein was the property of the Duan family. The star pills dug out here could be used to make weapons and armor. It could be said that they were very important. Moreover, in addition to the special situation, the defense here was even tighter than before. Not only that, there was a core elder of the Duan family overseeing it. This elder was a ninth heaven venerable expert. He was not an early ninth heaven venerable. Instead, he was a mid-ninth heaven venerable expert. His strength was equivalent to the ninth elder. With such a powerful person overseeing it, the Duan family was very assured. The night was slightly cold. The entire mineral vein did not stop working. Sonorous knocking sounds could be heard. Some key places were even heavily guarded by patrolling guards. However, in the dark night, a few figures floated over quickly like ghosts. These 5 people were very fast and did not reveal any auras. Therefore, even though the patrolling guards were very vigilant, they did not notice them. These 5 people were of all shapes and sizes. One of them was a fatty. When he passed by a group of guards, he sneered and a ball of dark green mist surged out of his palm. Next, the green mist waved and instantly enveloped a team of 10 people. Woo-woo. Immediately, those warriors did not even have time to scream before their bodies turned into a pool of pus. The 5 of them did not stop. Wherever they passed, the teams that they encountered all disappeared silently. Soon, they arrived in front of a palace. The 5 of them looked at each other, took out their knives, forks, and sticks, and quickly rushed forward. Boom! The auras of the 5 people erupted. It was very terrifying. They connected together and cooperated with the terrifying attacks. They quickly blasted forward. Immediately, the majestic palace collapsed with a bang. Boulders flew everywhere, and the ground caved in. Everything within a 10-mile radius collapsed. Some of the warriors who were close did not have time to escape at all and turned into a bloody mist in the attack. For a moment, the entire mining area was alarmed. Countless warriors and guards gathered here. In the ruins in front of them, an angry roar also sounded. "You're courting death." This voice was like thunder. It exploded with a bang, forming a violent air blade that blew away all the surrounding ruins. An old figure stood on the ground. The old man was dressed in a dark green robe that was incomparably resplendent. However, at this moment, his face was abnormally cold. A terrifying gaze burst out from his ancient eyes. It was like a fiend god's spear that pierced through the void. "How dare you cause trouble in the Duan family's mining area? You're courting death. Since you're here, you can stay here today." Chapter 1286. In the distance, there were countless martial artists frantically gathering over, surrounding the area so tightly that not even a drop of water could trickle through. The 5 black-clothed men sneered, and one of them, a tall man, shouted coldly and attacked. Immediately, the 5 of them attacked the core elder in front of them. The great battle erupted, and it was abnormally intense. The core elder of the Duan family was full of confidence, but very quickly, he let out a cry of surprise. "All of you are actually 9th-level supremacies." He was too shocked. He did not expect that the 5 people who killed him were actually all 9th-level supremacies. Although they were only at the initial 9th level, their strength was still very terrifying. Under normal circumstances, a middle 9th level martial artist could contend against 3 initial stage supremacies, at most 4. If there were 5, they could not contend at all and could only retreat. Now, the Duan family's elder was facing such a situation. "Old man, today is the day you die." The 5 of them roared, erupting with energy that could tear heaven and earth. After a great battle, the Duan family's core elder went all out, but he still could not escape, and finally lost his life here. Seeing the strongest core elder being killed, the surrounding martial artists were all scared out of their wits and fled one after another. Similar things were playing out in many places of the Duan family. Of course, some succeeded and some failed. But no matter what, the Duan family suffered a heavy blow, and even a few core elders were killed. For a time, it set off a huge uproar in the entire Tianwu continent. The Duan family was incomparably furious and fought back with all their might, but there were too many assassins, and they were very scattered, so they achieved little effect. In the end, the Duan family had no choice but to recall all the important elders and martial artists. However, they did not sit still and wait for death, but quickly sought an alliance, preparing to counterattack again. For a time, there were also many forces that joined. In a blink of an eye, a month passed. The situation in Tianwu continent became more and more tense, while Lin Xian's side was rather quiet. With the help of the illusory array, Shun Jingqiu finally overcame her heart demon and awakened the bloodline power again. And on Lin Xian's side, he also successfully refined an armor. That armor was bright red all over, emitting light, and engraved on it. It was very complicated and profound. Lin Xian tested it out and found that this armor alone could block 70% of the attacks. In other words, if a ninth heaven venerate attacked him, the armor would be able to block 70% of the attack. As for the remaining 30%, he could rely on his powerful body and defense to block it. It had to be said that this was a good way to save one's life. After coming out of seclusion, Lin Xian called Yu Fei over to ask about the situation outside. After learning about Chang Kuang of the Duan clan, he nodded in satisfaction. Not bad. In a month's time, a few core elders of the Duan clan were killed. However, these people were killed by different forces. Therefore, no faction had been able to gather the heads of 3 core elders, and no one had been able to exchange them for the longevity pill. However, Lin Xian was in no hurry. It had only been a month. As time passed, someone would definitely succeed in a sneak attack. Where's the 9th elder? Lin Xian asked. 9th elder returned to the War God Palace. I heard that he has something important to do. Yu Fei said. Return to the Palace of Ares? Forget it. Let me know when he comes back. Also, continue to monitor the Duan clan's actions. If there's anything unusual, report to me immediately. After arranging the following matters, Lin Xian accompanied Xin Jingqiu to cultivate in Sinv College. Xin Jingqiu had recovered her bloodline power, and her cultivation had also improved rapidly. Now, she had already reached the 4th heaven of the Venerable Realm. Lin Xian felt that the outside world was too chaotic, so he decided to let Xin Jingqiu cultivate in Sinv College. After all, it was very safe here, and the outside world could not attack. Moreover, there were many people of the same age here, so they could communicate with each other. Xin Jingqiu happily agreed to this suggestion. In the next few days, Lin Xian continued to cultivate. Of course, the most important thing was still to cultivate Firmament 9 and Void Shattering Finger. Now, he could already condense 2 Void Shattering Fingers, and he could also use 3 seals with Firmament Change. Not only that, but his cultivation had also been increasing. Now, he would soon reach the peak of 70% Venerable Realm. Lin Xian's side was going smoothly, but the Duan clan side was not having a good time. They were completely targeted, and now they did not even dare to go out. Regarding this situation, the Duan clan's patriarch and martial venerable could still keep calm and cultivate silently. However, Prince Lingfeng could not bear it at all. He was young and arrogant, and he did not take anyone seriously. Now, he was suppressed by a kid in the 7th heaven of the Venerable Realm, and this was a great humiliation to him. Therefore, he decided to fight back fiercely. Where's that kid now? Prince Lingfeng asked. Young master, that kid is now in Sinmu College. We can't enter at all. Damn it, he did very well. But does he think he's safe? Prince Lingfeng's expression was cold. How many people can we mobilize? Our Duan clan's people are completely targeted, especially those core elders. I'm afraid they will be assassinated as soon as they go out. Moreover, I think Lin Xian's side is definitely watching us, so we can't mobilize the forces of our Duan clan, the subordinate said. In that case, only the subordinate clans and Skynet are left. Inform the assassins of the 8 great clans and Skynet to gather. Tell them that there's a mission for them, Prince Lingfeng said solemnly. Yes. The subordinate's expression turned cold. Prince Lingfeng said solemnly, since that kid is hiding in Tianwu Academy, we'll lure him out. Young master, you mean? It's simple. Arrange 3 fake assassinations and spread the news that our 3 core elders have been killed. After which, arrange for our men to bring the fake heads to exchange for longevity pills. Young master, do you want the longevity pills? But the other party will definitely check it. Fool. I don't want the longevity pills. Can't you think of a way to lure that kid out and check the goods elsewhere? When he falls into our trap, I'll be the one to decide whether he lives or dies. Young master is wise. If that kid falls into our trap, he'll be dead for sure. Remember, send more 9th level martial saints. 8th level martial saints should be the elites. It's best if they can use combined formations. This time, we must succeed. Yes. The subordinate agreed and quickly left. Seeing his subordinates leave, Prince Ling Feng revealed a cruel smile. No one can make me suffer. Lin Xian, you're the first, but you'll have to pay a painful price. Following this, Prince Ling Feng's plan quickly unfolded. Very soon, the news of the Duan clan's core elder being assassinated spread. There were even many martial artists who saw it with their own eyes. For a time, all kinds of rumors were flying everywhere. Chapter 1287. Following that, Prince Ling Feng's plan quickly unfolded. Soon, the news of the Duan family's core elders being assassinated spread. Many cultivators even saw it with their own eyes. For a time, all kinds of rumors spread everywhere. Not long after, another 2 core elders of the Shin family were killed. Then, a third. What? Another 3 core elders were killed? Is the Duan family crazy? Why did they let their core elders come out? Many people were shocked, and many people were suspicious. This is normal. Many of the Duan family's businesses have been severely affected. Their resources have probably been reduced by a lot. If they continue to hide, their resources will probably be cut off. That's why those people took the risk to come out. That makes sense. However, the other party is too powerful. They actually killed the Duan family's core elders. I wonder if it's done by the same faction? That's right. If it's really the same faction, then the other party can exchange for longevity pills. For a time, everyone was excited. Countless people continued to keep an eye on the Shin family. Even more people went to Class 1 Hall to check if there were any longevity pills being exchanged. At this moment, an ordinary-looking gray-clothed man walked into Class 1 Hall. The gray-clothed middle-aged man kept a low profile and looked ordinary. He also suppressed his aura very low. Hence, no one noticed him in the crowd. Class 1 Hall's manager did not notice him either. However, after the other party said something, they looked at him seriously. This is not the place to talk. Follow me to the back. Soon, the gray-clothed middle-aged man was brought to a living room at the back. Is what you said true? The Class 1 Hall's manager asked. Of course it's true. How can I lie about this? The gray-clothed man said. The Class 1 Hall's manager said, even so, we still have to inspect the goods in advance. I'm just a messenger. The goods are not with me. Of course, you can inspect the goods, but not here. The gray-clothed man said, after all, killing the Duan family's core elders is a big deal. Moreover, it's 3 of them. If this news spreads, the Duan family will definitely fight to the death with us. At that time, we might be killed before we even step out of this door. Hearing this, the Class 1 Hall's manager frowned. Then what do you want? We can deliver the goods, but we have to go somewhere else. Where to? Nanshan City. The elite hall executive officer thought about it and then said, I cannot make the decision on this matter. I can only send this news up. As for the outcome, I do not know. It's fine. I can wait here. 3 days. I hope I can get the information I want in 3 days. The gray-robed, middle-aged man's expression was calm. Sure. Class 1 Hall will arrange a place for you. After that, the deacon pushed open the door and ordered someone to prepare the room while he quickly reported the matter. Soon, Lin Xian received the news. Lin Xian frowned. Are you saying that someone killed 3 of the Duan family's core elders and went there to exchange for longevity pills? However, they weren't willing to do the exchange at Class 1 Hall and wanted to go somewhere else? That's what the other party said. Brother Xian, I think there's something fishy about this matter. Should we reject the other party? Yu Fei asked. Where did they choose to trade? Nanshan City. Have you checked that place? I have. I didn't find anything unusual. Nanshan City is not a force under the Duan family. It's not too far from Windy City. What kind of strength did the other party have? Did you find out? No, there were no signs. We can't find out either. Yu Fei said. Brother Xian, I didn't do my job well.
It's fine.
Lin Xian thought about it and then asked, What do you think? The other party is too strange. I'm worried that this is a trap. Moreover, the 9th and 10th elders are not here. We don't have any reliable experts. After all, the longevity pills are too tempting. If we use experts from other forces, something might happen. Yu Fei spoke out his worries. Indeed, the longevity pill was a heaven-defying divine medicine. No matter if it was consumed or sold, it would be sold at a sky-high price. Therefore, only very reliable people could use it to exchange. Looks like I can only go by myself. Lin Xian sighed. No, Brother Xian, it's too dangerous. If this is a trap set by the Duan family, the consequences will be severe. Yu Fei quickly dissuaded. Actually, I also think it's a trap. However, I still want to take a look. Lin Xian smiled. Recently, I've been refining something good. It's a good opportunity to test it out. Moreover, don't worry. Even if the other party has a half-step king, I'm confident that I can safely retreat. Really? Yu Fei was shocked. Could he escape unscathed from a half-step king? Lin Xian smiled mysteriously. Tell that person that I will go.
Yes.
Seeing Lin Xian's confident smile, Yu Fei did not try to dissuade him. After he left, Lin Xian also stopped smiling. His expression was somewhat serious. Duan family, let me see what kind of tricks you have up your sleeve. The Crimson Dragon said from the side, Kid, don't worry. With Ben Huang here, you can definitely leave safely. Ben Huang's profound jade platform can teleport 200 li. As long as it's not a king, there won't be any problems. That's good. Lin Xian was full of confidence. Next, Lin Xian made some preparations and set out. This time, he didn't bring anyone except the Crimson Dragon and the Snow-White Monkey. He wasn't worried. Firstly, he had just refined the Crimson Lotus battle armor, which could block 70% of the damage, greatly increasing his safety. Moreover, he had also made a breakthrough in his 2 Earth tier cultivation methods, greatly increasing his strength. Moreover, he had the Crimson Dragon as his helper. If he really couldn't win, he still had the Crimson Dragon's profound jade platform, which could directly teleport him away. It could be said that it was very safe. Therefore, he dared to go alone. In the elite hall, the gray-robed middle-aged man also revealed a smile when he heard this news. However, his smile was somewhat sinister. He knew that the fish had taken the bait, and the next step was to reel in the net. The gray-robed man stayed in the elite hall and waited patiently. 3 days later, Lin Xian arrived. Greetings, young Master Lin Xian. The gray-robed man bowed slightly to Lin Xian. Lin Xian nodded. I don't have much time. Let's hurry up and go. Okay, young Master Lin, follow me. The gray-robed man didn't delay and quickly soared into the sky. Lin Xian's figure flashed and followed behind. They didn't speak along the way. After about 4 hours, the gray-robed man in front suddenly said, Young Master Lin, Nanshan City is in front. After saying that, he lowered his body and landed in one of the cities below. Lin Xian narrowed his eyes and glanced below. The corners of his mouth curled up, and then he followed. Whoosh whoosh. The two landed on the street. After arriving in the city, the gray-robed man's footsteps were obviously much faster. Soon, he arrived in front of a mansion. The red door was 3 meters wide and 5 meters tall. It was very majestic. There were 2 lifelike statues of strange beasts in front of the door. Young Master Lin, this is the place. Please come in, the gray-robed man said. Lin Xian nodded without any expression on his face. Seeing this, the gray-robed man didn't say anything and quickly led the way in front. When the two of them completely entered the mansion, the gray-robed man in front heaved a sigh of relief. It's settled. As long as the other party comes in, he won't be able to escape. They had set up several formations in this mansion. Some were for defense, some were for sealing, and some were for concealing qi. In short, this was a heaven and earth cage. The other party would definitely not be able to escape. Chapter 1288. Soon, the gray-clothed man brought Lin Xian to a living room. Lin Xian's expression was calm as he sat down in an imposing manner. Soon, a beautiful maidservant brought over some spirit tea. The gray-clothed man left after bringing Lin Xian in. At this moment, only Lin Xian and the two maidservants were left in the living room. The two maidservants were earnestly brewing tea. "Young Master Lin, please wait. My master will be here soon." The two beautiful maids poured the spirit tea and stood respectfully at the side. Lin Xian nodded. Then, he leaned back in his chair and narrowed his eyes. To outsiders, he seemed to be resting with his eyes closed. In fact, he was communicating with the Crimson Dragon. "How is it? What did you find?" Lin Xian asked. "There are at least 3 types of spirit arrays here. These people look ordinary, but they're hiding their strength. This is indeed not a good place." The Crimson Dragon said, "It's indeed a trap. Along the way, I've seen many powerful auras hidden in this villa. The surrounding security is also very tight. I'm afraid it won't be easy to get out." Lin Xian snorted. However, he didn't care. He wanted to see what these people were up to. Not long after he communicated with the Crimson Dragon, the door opened. Then, 2 figures walked in. The person in front was an old man. His hair was gray, but his vitality was abnormally strong. He was like a furnace. He walked with a majestic gait. His movements were dignified. From the aura he emitted, Lin Xian was sure that he was a 9th-level supremacy. Behind him, there was a handsome young man who also had the aura of a peak 8th-level supremacy. Behind them, there were 8 black-clothed men. They looked cold and carried swords on their backs. The 8 black-clothed martial artists also entered the living room and stood at the side. If one paid attention, they would realize that these people had sealed all the doors and windows. It seemed that they were planning to trap Lin Xian in this room. The tall and dignified old man sat down. Then, he stared at Lin Xian and smiled. "There's no choice. The situation is serious. Young Master Lin has to come here personally." "Young Master Lin, did you bring the longevity pill?" "I've always brought the longevity pill. Where are your heads?" Lin Xian asked calmly. Seeing Lin Xian's confident and calm appearance, the tall and mighty elder's eyes flickered and a trace of coldness flashed in his eyes. Lin Xian's aura alone surpassed most of the young martial artists. If he was allowed to grow, he would definitely be a great enemy of the Duan family. Therefore, he had to get rid of him. Behind the old man, the handsome young man also revealed a cold smile. In his opinion, Lin Xian was not confident. Instead, he was arrogant and had a death wish. How foolish of him to dare to come to their place alone. "My surname is Du and my name is Kong. This is my grandson, Du Tianqing." "Humph." Hearing this, Du Tianqing snorted arrogantly. To be honest, in Du Tianqing's heart, Lin Xian was far inferior to him. In terms of talent and strength, Lin Xian was no match for him. It was just that Lin Xian was lucky enough to become the young master of the Palace of Ares. If Du had that identity, he would definitely do 10 times, no, 100 times better than Lin Xian. However, Lin Xian frowned slightly and said impatiently, "I'm not interested in knowing your name. You just need to hand over the 3 heads of the Duan family's core elders. As for the rest, I'm not interested." Hearing this, Du Kong's face darkened as he looked at Lin Xian with a cold gaze. Suddenly, the air in the room froze. It was as if a mountain was pressing down on everyone, making it hard to breathe. Du Tianqing shouted angrily, "Lin Xian, what's with your attitude? How dare you speak to my grandfather like that? Apologize." Lin Xian sneered. "Who do you think you are? I'm talking to your grandfather. Who are you to speak here? Slap him." Lin Xian's meaning was clear. He was from the same generation as Du Kong, while Du Tianqing was his grandson. Du Tianqing naturally understood what he meant. He was instantly enraged and even wanted to pull out the long sword at his waist. "Tianqing, back off," Du Kong said in a low voice. "Don't scare young Master Lin." "Scare me? You're thinking too much. How could such a small force scare me?" Lin Xian sneered disdainfully. "All right, you've been pretending for so long. Even if you're not tired, I'm tired. Show me what you've got. My time is precious." Du Kong frowned when he heard Lin Xian's impatient words. "What am I pretending for? You can tell?" A bad premonition suddenly surged in his heart because the other party was too confident. Could it be that the other party had seen through his scheme? But so what? Ling Xian was already here. He couldn't escape. All right, stop wasting time. If you continue wasting time, I'm afraid Ling Feng can't wait any longer. Lin Xian sneered. Looks like you already know. Du Kong's face darkened. His eyes were filled with murderous intent. But I'm curious. Since you know, you still dare to come. You're courting death. I'm curious because I want to see what kind of tricks you have up your sleeves. But now it seems like it's nothing. Lin Xian shrugged. He didn't seem to care. Since you know, then I'll cut to the chase. Men, kill him. As soon as Du Kong's voice fell, two black-clothed martial artists in the room quickly walked in. With a clang, they unsheathed their swords and charged at Lin Xian. Dazzling saber light flashed in the air. With a sharp aura, they slashed at Lin Xian's left and right. It looked like they wanted to cut off his arms and legs. Clang! The sound of metal colliding rang out. The two dazzling saber lights in the air seemed to have hit a huge mountain. They quickly broke into two halves. What? He blocked it. Behind him, the two black-clothed martial artists' expressions changed drastically. Du Kong's expression also changed. Lin Xian also stopped smiling. Instead, it was replaced by a cold look. His gaze was like lightning. A dazzling sword light soared from his body. It seemed to tear the heavens and earth apart. Within the sword chi, there was a sharp, murderous aura. It was like a stampede of beasts. It was extremely terrifying. With a wave of his hand, two sword chi flew out and slashed behind him. In an instant, the two black-clothed martial artists were cut in half. Instantly, a bloody mist sprayed out. The pungent smell of blood filled the air. Go, kill him for me, Du Kong roared. He had a bad feeling in his heart. Therefore, he didn't attack. Instead, he quickly retreated with Du Tianqing. Soon, the other 6 black-clothed martial artists in the room attacked. Powerful auras erupted from their bodies. They were all 8th Heaven honorables. Lin Xian snorted coldly. His body exuded a strong, murderous aura. Countless lightning bolts rushed out and surrounded his body. Then, Lin Xian punched out. Boom! Thunder exploded, accompanied by the fist as it rushed forward. The power was too strong. It was as if the god of thunder had descended. Poof! 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 The 3 black-clothed martial artists who were charging forward were the first to bear the brunt of the attack. When they were struck by the violent lightning, they immediately let out a blood-curdling scream. Their body defenses and armor shattered instantly. They couldn't withstand the powerful power of the lightning. Boom! Then, the 3 of them exploded as well. Chapter 1289. The 3 black-robed men were the first to bear the brunt of the attack. They screamed when they were hit by the violent lightning. Their body defenses and armors instantly shattered, unable to withstand the powerful lightning energy. Boom! Then, the 3 of them exploded as well. The blood mist in the air had yet to dissipate, but Lin Xian's figure was still nowhere to be seen. Lin Xian appeared in front of the other 2 black-robed martial artists in a flash. His fingers formed a claw as he grabbed their heads and smashed them in the middle. Pong! Blood splattered everywhere like a watermelon. In an instant, 2 black-robed men were dead. There was only one left. However, the 2 maids who made the tea earlier also shouted. They quickly took out 2 thin swords from their storage rings and stabbed at Lin Xian. The 2 swords were aimed at Lin Xian's vital points. Moreover, they were very fast. They even passed by the black-robed men. Who would have thought that these 2 frail girls were actually terrifying assassins? 2 cold lights flashed in the air, slicing through the air instantly. Lin Xian snorted coldly. Countless white lightning surged out of his fist. The white lightning was very strange. It carried a cold and violent aura. It quickly formed a demonic beast in the air and pounced forward. In an instant, it enveloped the 2 maids. In the next moment, the power of lightning was released. It penetrated their bodies. Plop! Plop! 2 charred bodies fell to the ground, emitting the smell of barbecued meat. When the last black-robed martial artist saw this, his expression changed drastically. He quickly fled outside. However, Lin Xian's figure flashed, and he instantly appeared beside him. With a kick, he split the man into two halves. In an instant, 8 black-robed martial artists and 2 assassins were killed. Blood flowed all over the ground. The pungent smell of blood was disgusting. Du Tianqing's eyelids twitched when he saw this. His body began to tremble. As an 8th Heaven Peak martial artist, he usually did not take anyone seriously. However, the scene in front of him deeply provoked him. Those were 8 8th Heaven supremacies. He was killed in an instant. This was something he didn't even dare to imagine. Originally, he was still very arrogant, thinking that Lin Xian was inferior to him. But now, it seemed that he was gravely mistaken. Du Kong's face was also incomparably gloomy. From the other party's methods just now, his strength was definitely not inferior to a 9th Heaven sovereign. It seemed that the rumors were true. I admit that you've exceeded my expectations, but so what? We've set up an inescapable net today. No matter how strong you are, you won't be able to escape. Where is the law enforcement elder? Du Kong shouted coldly. Suddenly, the void fluctuated and 5 figures walked out. Chapter 1290. Countless streaks of sword chi flew out from the energy whirlpool and sliced through the sky. Lin Xian's black hair fluttered in the wind as he walked out like a god of war. What? He's fine. Everyone was stunned. Impossible. This is impossible. Du Tianqing screamed. Du Tianqing was indeed stunned. He couldn't believe what he was seeing. One had to know that that was the combined attack of 2 9th Heaven Venerables. Its power was definitely terrifying and unimaginable, but Lin Xian seemed to be fine. It was as if the attack just now hadn't hit him at all. How could this be? How could he be unharmed? Even the 2 9th Heaven Venerables were stunned. They couldn't understand what was going on at all. Meanwhile, Lin Xian's eyes were like lightning, and his lips curled up slightly. He was very happy because the red lotus armor that he had refined had played a role and blocked 70% of the attack. That was why he was unharmed. As expected of the red lotus armor, it was indeed powerful. Lin Xian was very excited. He was looking forward to how strong his defense would be if he refined the entire red lotus armor. Since the two of you have finished attacking, it's my turn now. Lin Xian released a powerful aura. Then, he quickly formed seals with his hands. You're courting death. The 2 9th Heaven Venerables were enraged. Although they didn't know how Lin Xian had dodged their attacks, they couldn't tolerate a 7th Heaven Venerables attacking in front of them. Bloodthirsty Ghost Claw. Blood-sucking slash. The two of them roared and used their ultimate techniques. A ghost claw that was 500 to 600 meters long slashed toward Lin Xian. Just the aftershock alone was enough to cause the entire space to crack, not to mention how terrifying it would be to be hit head-on. On the other side, a blood-colored blade shot into the sky as if it was going to cut the entire sky open. This was the furious attack of 2 9th Heaven Venerables. Its power was extremely terrifying. Faced with this shocking attack, Lin Xian's expression was cold. He quickly formed seals with his hands. Then, Qiong Qi's huge body formed in the sky. The moment it formed, it charged forward with a ferocious roar. Roar! A sound wave rushed out, forming a boundless killing intent. It rushed forward violently, resisting the blood-red ghost claw and shocking long blade. Rumble. The two collided, and the sky collapsed. Skyrock transformation. At the next moment, Lin Xian formed another seal. Another golden celestial Pong appeared in the void, looking extremely awe-inspiring. The heavenly Pong let out a long cry and swooped down, merging with Lin Xian's fist. Kill. Lin Xian's black hair fluttered in the wind. Like a god of death, he charged forward. Clang. In the blink of an eye, he arrived in front of the two of them. The golden, heavenly Pong fist whistled as it smashed out. Ghost claws flashed in the sky, but they couldn't block it at all. Bei was instantly blasted apart. Crack, crack. On top of that, ghost-clawed Venerable One's palm was also hit, causing cracking sounds to be heard. Damn it! How is this possible? He was terrified, not daring to believe this. That was because not only did his opponent blast away his ghost claw, he even shattered his fist. Retreat! This young fella's too strange. Ghost-clawed Venerable One dared not fight head-on, so it wanted to distance itself from Yangming. You want to leave? Stay. On the other hand, Lin Xian sneered. His fingers turned into claws like the heavenly Ping's sharp claws, and he grabbed Ghost-clawed Venerable One's arm in a split second. Crack! With a forceful pull, Ghost-clawed Venerable One's right arm was directly torn off. White bones were exposed, and blood spurted out. The scene was shocking. Ghost-clawed Venerable One screamed in pain, and its face was hideous. On the other hand, Venerable One Bloodsaber's face changed. He did not expect his opponent to injure Ghost-clawed Venerable One in an instant. What shocked him even more was yet to come. Ghost-clawed Venerable One's right arm, which was torn off, quickly burned in Lin Xian's hand. In the end, not even ashes were left. On top of that, numerous black flames danced on Yangming's left hand, forming a black flame longsword. Sword light flickered, and black sword chi soared into the sky as it slashed toward Venerable One Bloodsaber. Get lost. Venerable One Bloodsaber was furious. He slashed 32 saber lights with his wild blood saber. The demonic saber lights quickly crisscrossed in the air like a long red river, emitting monstrous killing intents. When the fearsome red saber lights came into contact with Lin Xian's black sword chi, they quickly evaporated and formed numerous red mists. In the end, the 32 saber lights evaporated completely without leaving a trace behind. This is impossible. Venerable One Bloodsaber's face changed. When he saw the black sword chi that was slashing toward him, he quickly dodged. Even so, he could not dodge at all. The sword chi formed by the black flames flickered in the air, then it split into 2, then 4, then 8. In the end, 64 black sword chis intertwined to form a sword net, which directly surrounded Venerable One Bloodsaber. Swish! Since Venerable One Bloodsaber could not dodge, he could only take it head-on. He quickly formed 13 layers of defense and pushed the armor on his body with all his might, preparing to resist with all his might. Nonetheless, when the black sword light landed, the 13 layers of defense in front of him melted like snow and did not stop at all. What flame is this? It's so fearsome. Venerable One Bloodsaber's eyes were filled with despair. He could only pin his hopes on the armor on his body because it was a half-Earth-grade treasure tool, and it had saved him many times. He hoped that this time, it could also block the fearsome sword chi from the flame. Indeed, the half-Earth-grade treasure tool was fearsome as it resisted the sword net in the sky. Venerable One Bloodsaber sighed a breath of relief, but in the next moment, he screamed in pain. This was because the horrifying high temperature directly passed through the half-Earth-grade treasure tool and burned his body. Crackle! Crackle! The black flames burned like the fire of hell, emitting an eerie light. Venerable Bloodsaber was quickly burned into ashes, leaving only his half-Earth-grade armor. Looking at the armor that was burned with holes, everyone's scalps went numb. What kind of flame is this? How can it be so fearsome that even a ninth heaven Venerable One can't resist it? On the other side, Ghost-clawed Venerable One was completely dumbfounded. As compared to Venerable One Bloodsaber, he only lost an arm. He dared not attack again, so he turned around and fled. On the other hand, Lin Xian scoffed coldly. He pulled out his Lone Star Sword and performed the Star Sword technique. Countless sword chis gathered in the sky at once, forming stars that quickly fell. One of them directly enveloped Ghost-clawed Venerable One and smashed his body into the ground, forming a bottomless abyss. In an instant, 2 Ninth Heaven Venerables were killed. Everyone was stunned by this scene. Grandpa! In the distance, Du Tianqing's body trembled, and he stuttered, "Why don't we run?" Du Kong also took a deep breath. To be honest, he was also shocked. Although he was a mid-ninth Heaven Venerable One, he couldn't kill 2 Ninth Heaven Venerables so easily. Moreover, looking at Lin Xian, it seemed that he hadn't used his full strength. Tianqing, retreat first and spread the news. Ask Prince Lingfeng to send more people, Du Kong said in a deep voice. Okay. Du Tianqing was already scared out of his wits. When he heard this, he immediately rushed into the sky. But soon, he came back crying, "Grandpa, this is bad. This place is sealed. We can't get out at all. Chapter 1291. It's sealed? How is that possible? There are a total of 3 layers of formations in this villa. Did you not activate all of them? Dukong frowned. No, grandfather. I've already activated all of them, but there's an unfamiliar formation outside. It's not ours at all. Moreover, that formation is very mysterious. I can't open it at all. You said there's another formation? Dukong's expression changed drastically. Could it be that kid who set it up? Thinking of this, he rushed into the sky, wanting to give it a try. Sure enough, after the 3rd layer of formations, he encountered the 4th layer of formations. Dukong's eyes shone brightly, and he roared furiously. His fist was like a heavenly thunder hammer, quickly bombarding the top. Boom! There was a deafening sound, and the entire villa shook. However, the 4th formation flickered with light, and there was no crack. Dukong did not believe it. His body moved like lightning, quickly investigating in all directions. In the end, he found that the entire villa was completely sealed, and there was no way out at all. Not to mention Du Tianqing, even he could not blast it open. Damn it! How is this possible? Actually, he did not know that this formation was set up by the Crimson Dragon. With their strength and cultivation, there was no way they could break it open. In other words, this villa had indeed become a prison of heaven and earth. However, it was not Lin Xian that was trapped, but Dukong and the others. Thinking of this, a hint of madness appeared in Lin Xian's eyes. Everyone, attack with all your strength. You must kill him for me. Dukong quickly ordered. At the same time, he took out 3 spirit talismans from his storage ring and quickly burned them. These were 3 voice transmission spirit talismans that could summon 3 supremacies in the intermediate 9th heaven nearby. Those 3 were stronger than him, and he had left them nearby as a precaution. He did not expect that they would really come in handy now. In the villa, all the cultivators knew that their way out was sealed. They could only leave if they killed the young man in front of them. Therefore, everyone became crazy in an instant. Kill him. All the cultivators attacked crazily. Hidden weapons, sword light, saber light, and palm shadows all rushed toward Lin Xian. Among them, 3 were very powerful. They were actually 9th heaven supremacies. With the 5 from before and the 3 now, there was a total of 8 9th heaven venerables and 1 9th heaven venerables in the middle stage. This lineup could be said to be extremely powerful and could kill anyone. He could even kill 2 mid-9th layer martial highnesses, let alone a 7th layer martial highness realm brat. It could be said that this was a situation of certain death. However, Prince Lingfeng had still underestimated Lin Xian's strength. He did not expect Lin Xian to be able to easily kill an early stage 9th stage venerable, which was why the current situation had occurred. Use the blood explosion talisman. In the darkness, the 3 9th level venerables didn't attack. Instead, they led the other 7th and 8th level venerables to attack from afar. Immediately, many venerables took out spirit talismans from their storage rings, bit their fingers, and poured a small bowl of blood into them. Those talismans turned blood red and released a monstrous killing intent. Then, these blood explosion talismans were tied to the hidden weapons and quickly flew over. Whoosh! Whoosh! Dozens of rays of light flickered in the air, like the eyes of demons, incomparably scarlet. In an instant, countless hidden weapons with incomparably violent blood explosion talismans stabbed towards Lin Xian. Looking at the sky full of blood explosion talismans, Lin Xian's expression was cold. In the next moment, he pulled out the Lone Star sword on his back, and a sharp sword chi instantly erupted. Countless black flames coiled around the long sword, forming mysterious patterns that emitted a terrifying temperature. Moreover, the sword let out a low dragon's roar, as if the entire long sword was about to transform into a giant dragon. Kill. Lin Xian held the Lone Star sword in his hand and slashed forward. The wind whistled, and the sword chi was like a dragon, accompanied by countless black flames. In the next moment, the surrounding blood explosion talismans and hidden weapons burned rapidly because they were swept by the aftershock of the sword chi. The terrifying temperature directly burned the blood explosion talismans. The hidden weapons and blood explosion talismans in front of him also disappeared in an instant. Not only that, those cultivators also let out ear-piercing screams. In front of him, the cultivators screamed as black flames quickly rose from their bodies and burned fiercely. In almost an instant, they were burned to ashes. Lin Xian held the long sword in his hand, and his black hair fluttered. His body exuded a fierce, murderous aura. Countless black flames rose from under his feet as if they were worshipping him. He walked forward like a god of death. The surrounding cultivators were all stunned. That sword just now had killed more than 100 people, and a large area of empty space appeared in the manor. The remaining people were all trembling, and their faces were filled with fear. No, I don't want to die. Finally, someone could not take it anymore and screamed. This fear was like a plague, spreading rapidly. In an instant, more than half of the cultivators lost their will to fight and fled in all directions. However, the entire manor was sealed, so where could they escape to? Lin Xian let out a low roar and used the ice and fire dual martial souls. Suddenly, the escaping cultivators froze, and countless ice spikes drilled out of their bodies, and the surface of their bodies burned rapidly. In an instant, everyone was killed. No, this can't be real. In the distance, Du Tianqing screamed, his face extremely pale. As for Du Kong and the three Ninth Heaven Supremacies fighting the Crimson Dragon, their expressions changed drastically. Especially the three Ninth Heaven Supremacies, they quickly retreated, not daring to fight anymore. Elder Kong, what should we do? The three of them asked anxiously. Fight. Otherwise, only death awaits. Du Kong's expression was ferocious. We still have people. We still have hope. Furthermore, the three senior brothers are still on the way and will arrive soon. By then, the four Ninth Heaven Supremacies would not be afraid of him, but we can't stop him at all. The three Ninth Heaven Supremacies shook their heads, their eyes filled with fear. Even if we can't stop him, we have to stop him. As long as we can delay him a little more, we can win. Otherwise, we will all die, Du Kong said in a low voice. This time, we have gathered the strength of the 8 great families. I don't believe that we can't kill him. Indeed, the 8 great families under Prince Lingfeng had sent out elite cultivators this time, and there were still many of them in the manor. However, those are all our hard work. If we die here, the 8 great families will be finished. The 3 Ninth Heaven Supremacies could not bear it. You're wrong. If we die, it will be the real end. Du Kong did not have a shred of emotion. As long as we don't die, the 8 great families can be reformed. All right, let them come out. I understand, the 3 Ninth Heaven Supremacies said, but they still need some time to come out. And Du Kong nodded. Let the weaponry refinement team go first. The Blood Demon team and Half Demon team quickly recover. Yes, the 3 Ninth Heaven Supremacies agreed. Then, with a flash, they flew into the depths of the manor. Lin Xian held his sword and watched silently, not stopping them. This was because he was here to eliminate the source of the problem. Only when those people took out all their hidden strength would he be able to make a move. Otherwise, if he kept them alive, they would be a disaster in the future. Clang, 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 rumble. Suddenly, a series of sounds came from the manor, as if countless metals were colliding. It was very ear-piercing. Chapter 1292. The sound of metal clanging resounded in the villa, followed by the ground trembling slightly. Lin Xian narrowed his eyes and looked ahead. A group of about 50 warriors appeared in front of him. These people had cold expressions, and their faces had a metallic luster, as if they were not real humans, but metal men. Lin Xian was a little surprised. He did not expect to meet such warriors. At the side, the dark red dragon frowned as well. Weapon fusion? What? Lin Xian did not understand. There is an ancient lost art that can fuse weapons into the body and practice it into an extremely powerful divine ability. You mean these people all have ancient cultivation methods? And they've practiced it? Lin Xian was surprised. How is that possible? That cultivation method has been lost, and the requirements for the warrior are very high. It is impossible for ordinary warriors to practice it. These people have probably only heard of the legend of weapon fusion, but the method is wrong. The Crimson Dragon shook his head. These people must have forcibly fused weapons into their bodies. It is very dangerous, and the process is very cruel. Hearing the Crimson Dragon's explanation, Lin Xian also understood that these people in front of him must have practiced some kind of evil art. These people were really crazy. In order to pursue great power, they did not hesitate to use this kind of self-harming method. In front of him, 50 metal warriors were rushing over quickly, like a sharp sword. Soon, these people were divided into 5 teams of 10 people, rushing from different directions. The first team of warriors spread out their arms, and there were blades on their arms. These people must have fused their weapons into their arms. The 10 people were very fast, and in an instant, they were in front of Lin Xian. Their arms that had fused with their weapons quickly blasted out, wanting to kill him. Lin Xian snorted and waved his fist, accompanied by countless lightning, quickly rampaging. Pong! An earth-shaking sound rang out, and he collided with a warrior who had fused with a giant hammer. Suddenly, the whole space shook, and the ear-piercing roar made many people bleed from their ears. Lin Xian's eyes flashed like lightning. He stood as still as a mountain, but the martial artist in front of him retreated several dozen steps, leaving a deep gully in the ground. However, his arm was not broken. Lin Xian was also very surprised. As expected of an arm that had fused with a weapon, it was indeed powerful. Compared to martial artists of the same level, it was a whole realm stronger. No wonder these people did not hesitate to harm their own bodies and use such a cruel method. Du Kong and Du Tianqing in the distance were overjoyed when they saw this scene. They realized that they seemed to have found a way to deal with Lin Xian. At least these people weren't instantly killed like before. Go! Kill him! Du Kong roared madly. Immediately, the 50 metal warriors received the order, and their figures flashed like lightning, attacking once again. The first squad was like a sharp knife, rushing to the forefront. Giant hammers, sabers, swords, spears, all kinds of strange weapons appeared on the arms of these people. They flashed with a cold light and ruthlessly attacked Lin Xian. The second squad launched a sneak attack from behind. These people had fused their legs. With a kick, saber light and sword shadows flashed. These martial artists' legs were like heavenly sabers, incomparably sharp, easily cutting through the void. Squad 3, Squad 4, and Squad 5, keep up. Some of these people had fused half of their bodies, and some had completely fused, forming metal men. They could be said to be incomparably powerful. Even a ninth heaven venerable would probably find it difficult to retreat unscathed when facing such a terrifying attack. Lin Xian stood in place, not moving at all. A cold smile tugged at his lips. If it were anyone else, they would probably be helpless in this situation, because the other party's body was really too tough, and they could not blast it open at all. But he was different. He had a way to restrain these people. No matter how strong you are only metal. You will also melt when encountering fierce fire. Lin Xian's expression was cold, and a ball of black flames surged out of his palm. Indeed, Lin Xian had terrifying black flames that could restrain metal. As expected, when this black flame appeared, those metal warriors trembled, and many showed expressions of horror. Facing the black flame, they instinctively felt a kind of fear. Don't retreat. All of you. Attack. Although he is flames, he might not be able to restrain us. Someone shouted. Hearing this, a trace of madness appeared in these people's eyes. With a roar, they rushed over like wild beasts. Stubborn. Lin Xian snorted coldly, and with a slap, a large black flame palm was pushed out. This black flame came from the heavenly Netherbird's origin flame. It was extremely terrifying, and Lin Xian had refined it into a martial soul, so its power was even stronger. At this moment, the entire space became distorted. The first squad was even more fiercely attacked, and their arms began to melt under the high temperature. Soon, their hands that had fused with their weapons turned into a ball of molten metal that dripped onto the ground. The martial artists of the first squad let out ear-piercing screams. There was no helping it. It was too painful. Could you imagine the feeling of having your arms melt? They were now suffering this kind of torture. These metal men originally had this kind of flaw. If they encountered extremely strong flames, they would not be able to resist at all. However, when they had chosen this path, they had thought that they would be lucky, as there were very few such flames in the world. Furthermore, as long as it was not a king-level flame, they would not be afraid at all. However, they did not expect that Lin Xian's flames came from an ancient peerless demonic beast, and were even more terrifying than a king-level flame. Therefore, against this kind of black flame, they had no power to resist at all. The large black palm was like a bulldozer, and wherever it passed, the martial artists of the first squad would melt. In an instant, the threat in front of Lin Xian was eliminated. However, at this moment, the people of the second squad had already charged over. Demonic Blade Kick, 18 Ghost Fire Kicks, Wind Cloud Divine Kick. Shadows of kicks flashed, and they were like divine swords, extremely sharp and fierce. If an 8th heaven venerable realm was hit by these kicks, they would probably explode immediately. Lin Xian sneered, and without turning his head, he slapped out with his palm. Suddenly, a black fire dragon flew out from his palm, roaring as it circled around. The martial artists of the second squad were instantly enveloped by the black dragon, and they let out miserable cries. Their attacks were all burned in the air and then melted. Not only that, but 2 black spears appeared in Lin Xian's palms, burning fiercely as they quickly pierced towards the left and right. The spears were extremely sharp and carried a scorching heat. It was as if the god of fire had descended, and they instantly pierced through the 3rd and 4th squads. As for the 5th squad, Lin Xian glanced at them, and then black flames appeared all over their bodies. Soon, the 5 squads of the weaponry refinement team were all annihilated. Who? The ground was covered in black flames, and the martial artists of the weaponry refinement team had long disappeared, and not even their corpses were left behind. Chapter 1293. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. Black flames danced on the ground, burning fiercely. Meanwhile, the cultivators from the weaponry refinement team were nowhere to be seen. Not even their corpses were left behind. This scene was too terrifying. The weaponry refinement team that had been roaring furiously and filled with killing intent a second ago actually had nothing left behind. For a moment, the entire villa was empty. Seeing this scene, Du Tianqing and Du Kong both felt their scalps go numb. Especially Du Kong, who was even more terrified. This was because he knew the power of the weaponry refinement team. They were definitely extremely powerful. Even a 9th heaven venerable could not kill them. Those people were formed after the 8 great clans had spent a lot of effort. Back then, a total of 5,000 people had participated in this experiment, but in the end, only 50 people had succeeded. It could be said that this was their secret weapon. Now that they had used it to deal with Lin Xian, it should be very effective. However, who would have thought that they would be killed instantly? Where are the Blood Demon team and the Half-Beast team? Du Kong roared crazily, his eyes filled with fear. He had to delay Lin Xian and wait for the other 3 9th heaven venerables to arrive. Otherwise, they would be dead for sure. Elder Kong, the Blood Demon team and the Half-Beast team have not completely recovered. The 9th heaven venerable broke out in cold sweat. We can't wait any longer. Let them go quickly. We must stop them. Yes, I understand. The 9th heaven venerable gritted his teeth and nodded in the end. Then, he turned around and left quickly like a ghost. Not long after, the ground in front of them suddenly flashed with light. 2 huge hexagram arrays quickly appeared, and then 2 groups of people appeared in the light. A teleportation array. Looks like some strange fellows have come out again. The Crimson Dragon looked forward with anticipation. The dazzling light quickly disappeared, and finally, 2 groups of cultivators appeared on the ground. This time, there were even fewer people. There were only about 30 people on each side. In total, there were about 60 people. However, their auras were even more violent than the weaponry refinement team from before. The 30 people on the left were extremely strange. Their bodies were glowing red, and if one looked closely, they would realize that it was blood flowing. They were all like blood men. Their cold eyes were extremely red, and they were filled with killing intent. They looked like a group of killing gods. Thinking about it, this should be the blood demon team that Dukong had mentioned. Judging from the killing intent on those people, they should have killed at least 10,000 people. Not only that, their blood seemed to have been stimulated by a secret technique, forming a special energy. However, this method of squeezing out the body's potential meant that these martial artists would not live for long. Being able to live for 10 years was already very heaven-defying. The Crimson Dragon had a look of disdain on his face. He was very opposed to this method of extracting energy. Then, it turned its gaze to the people on the right. F***CK. What is this? The group of warriors on the right was even weirder. Some of them had a pair of wings on their backs, some had scales on their bodies, and some had parts of demonic beasts. This was the last group, the half-demon group. What the hell are they? They're neither human nor demon. They're neither fish nor fowl. These guys are really courting death. The Crimson Dragon shook its head. This should be their final secret weapon, Lin Xian said coldly as he looked at the blood demons and half-fiends. It seems that they've gone mad in order to obtain more power. This is not something a martial artist would do. Since it's something that shouldn't exist in this world, let it disappear. Lin Xian's voice was sonorous, and his eyes were full of fighting spirit. At the front, the blood demons and half-fiends received the order and quickly recovered. The eyes of the blood demons on the left burst out a terrifying red light. Their killing intent was incomparable, as if they had gone mad. The blood-red killing intent was agitated and covered the entire sky. In an instant, the entire villa was dyed red. The 30 people at the front all had a substantial killing intent. Then, they soared into the sky and quickly charged at Lin Xian. Killing intent? You're not qualified. Lin Xian snorted disdainfully. Then, his eyes burst out a dazzling light. Blood Sword Slaughter Inheritance. Activate. A violent energy instantly burst out from Lin Xian's body. Blood-red sword aura gushed out from Lin Xian's body and quickly covered the surroundings, forming a sea of blood. 2 rays of blood-red light appeared in his cold eyes. Not only that, his black hair danced in the wind and was also dyed red. A shocking and violent killing intent burst out from Lin Xian's body and swept through the sky, causing the entire villa to shake violently. If the killing intent of the 30 people at the front were rivers and lakes, then Lin Xian's killing intent was a vast ocean and a vast starry sky, boundless and endless. The two were not even on the same level. What? How is this possible? How can he have such a terrifying killing intent? In the distance, Dukong and the other Ninth Heaven Supremacies were all stunned. How many people did he have to kill to form such a violent killing intent? 100,000? 1 million? Or 10 million? They did not dare to believe that a 20-year-old cultivator could kill so many people. How could they know that the reason why Lin Xian could display such a violent killing intent was because of the blood sword slaughter inheritance? That was the inheritance of a king. It was definitely not something that people like them could imagine. At the front, the 30 cultivators of the blood demon group also felt Lin Xian's aura, and they instantly trembled uneasily. The killing intent on their bodies also became chaotic and uneasy. Facing Lin Xian, they were no longer charging forward crazily. Instead, they were like trembling kittens, unable to resist at all. Oh no, the consciousness of the blood demon group is about to collapse. At the back, Ninth Heaven Supremacy's expression changed drastically. In the next instant, he took out a blood-red bell. A trace of madness appeared in his eyes, and he shook it rapidly. Dang, 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 dang. Strange syllables were heard. When the blood demons heard this, they instantly went crazy. Their trembling bodies also returned to normal, but their auras became even more violent. The blood vessels in their eyes were also so thick that they could not be removed. If outsiders saw this, they would know that these people had completely gone crazy. Attack. The 30 figures were like suicide soldiers who did not care about their lives, and they quickly charged forward. Even if they had to self-destruct, they had to kill this young man in front of them. Meanwhile, Lin Xian's invitation was even more arrogant. He was like the god of slaughter reborn. The sea of blood around him surged, and a blood-red sword condensed in front of him. Blood-splitting sky. With a swing of the sword, An unparalleled sword light surged rapidly. It was like a blood-red rainbow, instantly enveloping the 30 people in front of him. Everywhere the sword light passed, there were countless demonic sounds and ghostly howls, causing one's scalp to go numb. At this moment, the entire 30-feet area seemed to have turned into a hellish battlefield. Bang! The blood-red sword light slashed down, and the 30 blood demon cultivators in front of him quickly exploded like dazzling fireworks. One sword, and the blood demon group was annihilated. No, this can't be real. Dream. I must be dreaming. Seeing this scene, Du Kong and the rest went crazy. Du Tianqing even knelt on the ground, trembling, and kept fiddling with his hair. Demon. This is a demon. He had never heard of such a technique. Chapter 1294. In fact, the other party's killing aura had directly destroyed his mind. He could not resist at all. He could only kneel here and tremble. Below, the half-demon cultivators also went crazy and roared anxiously. They did not even need to wait for orders. They had already charged forward crazily. Just now, Lin Xian's blood-red killing sword aura had already destroyed their minds. Now, they were already in a state of madness. They did not know what danger was at all. That was why they had charged forward crazily. Meanwhile, Lin Xian floated in mid-air. The blood sea and blood sword around him had not disappeared. Not only that, but they had become even clearer. They even emitted a pungent smell of blood. Today, I'll let you see what a real killing aura is. Lin Xian's lips curled up in a cold smile. He did not put away the blood sword massacre inheritance. Instead, he used it to the extreme. Dressed in a black robe, his blood-red hair fluttered. Lin Xian held a sword in his hand. He was like a god of death. The boundless blood sea surged in the air, emitting a sound that made one's soul tremble. Bloodthirsty demonic sword. First sword, spirit slaughter. Lin Xian's voice was cold. His killing aura had materialized. His arrogant aura was like a volcano, causing the entire mountain villa to tremble. At this moment, Lin Xian had transformed into a demon. The boundless blood sea surged in the sky, dyeing the entire mountain villa red. 8 streaks of blood-red sword aura slashed out in all directions with Lin Xian as the center. The ground split open, and houses collapsed. It was a mess. The 30 half-demon cultivators were also turned into a bloody mist by the 8 streaks of sword aura. At this moment, nothing could stop Lin Xian. Seeing this, the 3 ninth heaven venerables' expressions changed drastically. Du Kong's face was even paler, and he suddenly spat out a mouthful of blood. Dead. All dead. His expenses? The elites that he had nurtured for decades had all died in this battle. He could not accept this at all. Not only that, but the more serious thing was that the entire mountain villa was sealed. They could not escape at all. As expected, Lin Xian's second sword was aimed at these ninth heaven venerables. Bloodthirsty demon sword, second sword, slaughtering wind. It was another blood-red sword chi. Wherever it passed, a blood-red gust of wind blew through the entire manor. For blood-red hurricanes connected heaven and earth, as if a demon king was walking in the human world. These 4 tornadoes charged towards the 3 ninth heaven venerables and Du Kong respectively. That blood-red hurricane was simply too violent. It contained an invincible aura, as well as blood-red slaughter sword chi. Coupled with the fact that these people had been scared out of their wits by Lin Xian, there was no way they could fight back. Pung pung pung. Not long after, the 3 ninth level venerables were enveloped by the blood-colored hurricane. Although they did their best to resist, the blood-red hurricane released countless resplendent sword lights that were too terrifying. They instantly cut these people apart. A gust of wind blew past, and the 3 powerful ninth heaven venerables were reduced to a pile of minced meat. As for the 4th blood-red hurricane, it quickly flew towards Du Kong. Even Du Kong, who was a mid-stage ninth heaven venerable, felt his scalp go numb at this moment. This was because this aura was really too wild. Under normal circumstances, Du Kong would not be afraid. However, this hurricane was unleashed by Lin Xian in an extremely frenzied manner. Furthermore, it contained the blood energy of those dead cultivators. He did not dare to resist at all. However, the surrounding paths were all sealed. Grandfather, do something. Quickly do something. I don't want to die. At the side, Du Tianqing was so scared that he wet his pants. His handsome face was extremely pale. At this moment, he no longer had the arrogance from before. He was like a lowly ant. However, Du Kong was silent. As he looked at the blood-red hurricane that was getting closer and closer, he made up his mind. A hint of madness appeared in his eyes. His hand was like a ghost claw, and it was as fast as lightning as it grabbed Du Tianqing. Du Tianqing immediately screamed in pain. This was because that hand had already sunk into his flesh, causing a large amount of blood to spurt out. Ah, grandfather, you? Du Tianqing was both shocked and frightened. He did not know what to do. However, in the next moment, his body suddenly exploded, turning into a bloody mist. Du Tianqing did not believe that his grandfather would kill him with his own hands. However, he did not know this at this moment. The pile of blood quickly condensed in front of Du Kong, forming a fist-sized blood-red ball of light. Then, Du Kong slapped it out. Boom! The blood-red ball of light was formed by Du Kong using a secret method. It was very strange. It required the body of a cultivator as the raw material, which was why he killed Du Tianqing. The ball of light was like a blood-red moon. It flew quickly and then hit the hurricane, causing a tremor like today's. The hurricane swept and blood filled the air. The entire villa was completely shrouded in it. When everything disappeared, a bottomless pit appeared in front of them, as if it was connected to the underworld. The three formations that the villa had previously set up were also shattered in this explosion. Only the Crimson Dragon formation was still standing. Du Kong escaped with his life by relying on the blood-red ball of light. He hid at the side and kept panting. Looking at this scene, Du Kong's face was extremely pale. His heart was bleeding. This was the secret villa that he had painstakingly managed to cultivate elites for the 8 great families. However, everything was now destroyed. There was nothing left. In an instant, he seemed to have aged 100 years. He knew that all of this was caused by this detestable brat in front of him. It was this brat who destroyed the 8 great families. Du Kong's heart was filled with anger. It was like a raging fire burning in his body. However, in the next moment, his body trembled. The anger in his body quickly retreated as if it had encountered ice. Even Du Kong's body began to tremble. This was because he saw Lin Xian walking towards him. In the distance, Lin Xian held a blood-red sword in his hand. Behind him, there was an endless sea of blood. He walked step by step towards Du Kong. With every step Lin Xian took, Du Kong's heart sank. In the end, he rolled and crawled away into the distance. Stop! You can't kill me. Du Kong began to beg for mercy. Can't kill you? Lin Xian snorted coldly. Give me a reason not to kill you. If you kill me, Prince Lingfeng won't let you go. Idiot! Lin Xian was disdainful. He slowly raised the blood-red killing sword in his hand. Don't do it. Don't kill me. I know a lot of secrets about Prince Lingfeng and the Duan family. As long as you don't kill me, I'll tell you everything. Seeing that his threats were useless, Du Kong immediately changed his strategy. He wanted to use his value to exchange for a way out. You're not even a member of the Duan family. What secrets would you know? I'm afraid you can't even enter the Duan family's core circle. Lin Xian sneered disdainfully. Stop struggling. I'll send you on your way. With that, Lin Xian raised the blood-red killing sword and was about to slash forward. At this moment, an angry roar suddenly came from the sky. Brat, let go of Elder Kong quickly. Otherwise, I'll make you wish you were dead. This voice was like a clap of thunder that exploded from above. Hearing this voice, Lin Xian frowned slightly and turned to look forward. On the other hand, Du Kong, who was on the ground, was ecstatic. Sky Snake Venerable, you're here? Save me quickly. Chapter 1295. 3 powerful auras came from the void above. They were extremely violent and made one's heart tremble. 3 mid-stage, 9th heaven venerables. Lin Xian frowned slightly, and his eyes flickered. The Crimson Dragon also snorted. I didn't expect reinforcements to arrive, Kid, be careful. They seem to have a precious weapon in their hands that can break through the last formation. Treasure? Lin Xian's eyes were like lightning as he looked up. Indeed, in the next moment, a blue pagoda suddenly enlarged and smashed downwards like a giant mountain. Boom, boom, boom. An earth-shattering sound was heard, and a huge crack appeared on the last array. Then, the three ninth heaven venerables controlled the blue pagoda again and widened the crack. In the end, the entire array was split into two. Swoosh, swoosh. Three figures with powerful auras descended quickly. Lin Xian held his sword and sneered as he looked at the three people. In front of him was a middle-aged man in a black robe and an old woman in a red robe with a walking stick. The last one was bald and had poisonous snakes crawling all over his body. The three of them had powerful auras, and they stood there like three mountains. Behind them, hundreds of cultivators rushed over. Sky Snake Venerable, Red Flower Granny, Taoist Monk Mu, save me! Du Kong shouted crazily. Elder Du, don't worry. We will definitely ensure your safety. The bald Sky Snake Venerable said in a deep voice. Yes, not only that, we will also kill this kid. On the side, the middle-aged man in black, Taoist Monk Mu, was also filled with killing intent. Facing the three arrogant people, Lin Xian didn't care at all. Instead, he stared at the blue pagoda in Red Flower Granny's hand. A fragment of an Earth-stage treasure. No wonder it has such power to break the array. Lin Xian muttered and nodded slightly. I didn't expect you to have some knowledge. Since you know the power of the treasure, I advise you to surrender obediently. Perhaps this way, you can leave a complete corpse. Otherwise, don't blame us for tearing you into pieces. Red Flower Granny snorted with a sinister smile. However, Lin Xian wasn't moved. His gaze was like lightning as he slowly scanned the crowd. Looks like you guys should be the last reinforcements. Since that's the case, let's end this. Arrogant and ignorant. You're courting death. Brat, you're dead. You won't be able to escape today. Angry shouts rang out one after another. On the other hand, Lin Xian's expression was ice cold. His entire body was surrounded by lightning and black flames. His entire being was like a god of war, unstoppable. He fused the blood-colored light sword in his hand with the Lone Star sword, and then drew a strange trajectory in the air. Blood-red sword chi, purplish-white lightning, black flames, frost, sword soul. Streaks of terrifying power were unleashed as the Lone Star sword danced through the air. Subsequently, 5 gigantic, heavenly swords formed in the sky. Gale Lightning Sword, 5 sword gods and demons annihilation. Lin Xian performed the Gale Lightning Sword technique in the face of 4 mid-stage 9th-tier martial supremacies and close to 100 assassins. Furthermore, it was the final form of the Gale Lightning Sword technique. 5 gigantic, heavenly swords appeared in the air. One of them was blood-red in color. With a monstrous killing aura, it slashed towards the 100 martial artists in the distance. Boom! As the sword landed, the ground caved in and the void shattered. The violent killing aura immediately shrouded the 100 martial artists. Screams rang out one after another. Countless people struggled frantically, trying to break out of the encirclement. However, they were all turned into blood mist by the gigantic sword and no longer existed. In an instant, the 100 martial artists were all annihilated. What? Sky Snake Supremacy and Safflower Grandma had just arrived and had not seen Lin Xian's previous combat strength. Hence, when they saw this scene, their eyelids twitched violently. How could it be? There were hundreds of elites and countless experts. Even they could not kill them in one move. However, the young man in front of them did it. This gave them a bad premonition. The three of you, this brat is extremely powerful. Don't hesitate. Hurry up and attack together. Du Kong roared crazily to remind everyone. Hearing that, Sky Snake Supremacy and the other two gasped. Then, an incomparable killing intent erupted from their bodies. Kill! Angry shouts rang out one after another. Then, Sky Snake Supremacy and the other two quickly attacked. Tens of thousands of snakes ran around Sky Snake Supremacy's body, forming a huge flying python that charged forward quickly. Safflower Grandma activated the blue pagoda in her hand and shot out a dazzling light shadow. The power was extremely terrifying, causing the entire void to crack. Taoist Monk Mu moved like a ghost. The black sword in his hand was as fast as lightning as it pierced toward Lin Xian's back. Du Kong, who was on the ground, also roared furiously. He unleashed a violent power and waved his fists to attack Lin Xian. In an instant, the four top experts attacked together. They were determined to kill Lin Xian. Lin Xian, on the other hand, was laughing wildly. His blood-red hair fluttered in the air. He had an extremely arrogant smile on his face. The aura on his body was as sharp as a peerless divine sword. Let's fight. Today, the four of you will die here. As soon as he finished speaking, a loud dragon roar rang out from his body. The four gigantic swords in the sky slashed down even faster. A gigantic black sword, carrying countless black flames, like the fire of hell, slashed toward Du Kong at a high speed. A gigantic blue sword, emitting endless chilliness, froze the void wherever it passed. It quickly pierced toward Taoist Monk Mu. A purple-white lightning sword, with an extremely violent aura, pierced through the void and swept toward Sky Snake Supremacy. The last gigantic sword was extremely simple. There was a faint shadow of a dragon on it. It was as if a gigantic dragon had pierced through the void and slashed towards Safflower Grandma. In an instant, thunder roared and the wind howled. It was like a scene of destruction. Puff, puff, clang, clang. The fist shadow of Du Kong evaporated in an instant. Not only that, his entire body was cut into two halves by the black flame sword. His corpse was burned clean, leaving no trace behind. In the void, the gigantic flying snake shadow was pierced through by countless lightning bolts. It screamed and collapsed. Sky Snake Supremacy's body was charred black. He spat out mouthfuls of blood and was sent flying. The blue ice sword released endless power of ice and instantly froze Taoist Monk Mu, turning him into an ice sculpture. It then shattered into countless pieces. The last dragon-shaped gigantic sword, emitting a killing intent that could pierce through heaven and earth, went straight for Safflower Grandma. In an instant, Safflower Grandma was scared out of her wits. She bit her finger and dripped a drop of blood on the blue pagoda, frantically activating it. The blue pagoda enlarged, like a huge blue mountain, enveloping her. Clang! A sky-shaking sound rang out. The entire void cracked. Safflower Grandma and the blue pagoda were sent flying together. Four gigantic swords fell. Du Kong and Mu Luoran died on the spot. Sky Snake Supremacy and Safflower Grandma were also seriously injured. If this matter were to spread, it would definitely cause a huge commotion in the entire Tianwu continent. Four venerables in the middle stage of the 9th level fought Lin Xian, but the result was 2 dead and 2 injured. This was too unbelievable. No, this is impossible. How can you have such powerful battle strength? The surviving Sky Snake Supremacy and Safflower Grandma went crazy. They could not believe it. Chapter 1296. No, this is impossible. How can you have such powerful battle prowess? The surviving Sky Snake Supremacy and Red Flower Grandma went crazy in disbelief. Before they came, they were full of confidence and thought that their plan was flawless. They would definitely be able to eliminate Lin Xian. Who would have thought that it would end up like this? You're not human. You're a demon. A demon. They were indeed crazy. Even a late-stage 9th Heaven Supremacy would not be able to have such terrifying power. Stupid. Ignorant. Lin Xian spat. Then, he flicked out 2 void-shattering fingers, instantly piercing through the heads of Sky Snake Supremacy and Red Flower Grandma. Plop. Plop. Their eyes widened. Before they fell, they were already dead. Even in death, they could not believe that they had been killed so easily. 4 top experts, 9 Ninth Heaven Supremacies, and hundreds of elite cultivators had been completely annihilated. How terrifying was this young man before them? He was actually able to fight against the 8 great clans alone and even kill countless experts. How old was he? He was only 20 years old. Yet, he already had such battle prowess. Even the kings of the continent could not have achieved such an achievement back then. It's over. Lin Xian put away the Lone Star Sword and walked out. When he and the Crimson Dragon walked out of the villa behind them suddenly burst into flames. Countless black flames engulfed the entire villa like demons. When Lin Xian disappeared into the sky, the entire Nanshan city was shaken. Actually, the experts in the city had already felt the violent energy earlier. However, that energy was too powerful, and they did not dare to go near for fear of being affected. When the force weakened, many experts nearby went to check it out. Then, they were all dumbfounded and stood rooted to the ground. There was a huge, deep pit in front of them. It covered a radius of 100 miles and was unfathomably deep. The originally majestic villa was gone. Not only the entire Nanshan city, but experts from the nearby cities also flew over. The energy from the previous battle had spread far and wide. Ordinary cultivators were only shocked by the terrifying pit. However, those experts' eyes widened, and their scalps went numb. They knew that this was where the great clans gathered. Countless elites were gathered. However, at this moment, it was actually destroyed. This was definitely a huge matter, and the Duan clan would probably be incomparably furious. One had to know that the Duan clan's current situation was extremely bad. They were often assassinated, but now, their secret location had actually been destroyed. Who did this? Killing so many people should be enough to exchange for a longevity pill, right? Many people were extremely excited when they heard the news. When this news reached the Duan clan, everyone in the Duan clan was shocked. They couldn't believe that so many elite martial artists and absolute experts couldn't kill a 7th-level venerable. How is this possible? How is this possible? How could that brat survive? What was going on? Tell me. Prince Ling Feng roared in anger. The martial artists under him were so frightened that they knelt on the ground, trembling. Young master, we really don't know. The entire manor is suspected to have been leveled, and not a single trace was left behind. I'm guessing that brat must have brought a large number of 9th Heaven venerables with him. Otherwise, he wouldn't have been able to destroy the entire manor. Yes, that must be it. We were careless this time. I didn't expect him to be so cautious. Trash, a bunch of trash. Prince Ling Feng was so angry that he wanted to vomit blood. He had never suffered such a loss before. Send people to investigate. We must find out where that brat is. If you find out that he's alone, inform me immediately. He was really mad. If it wasn't for the fact that he couldn't find Lin Xian now, he would definitely bring the Duan clansmen and kill them immediately. Not only the Duan clan, but all the top forces in the Sky Martial continent, the House of Kings, were all shocked when they heard the news. Now, the battle between the Duan clan and Lin Xian was extremely intense. This was something that everyone knew. Originally, they didn't think highly of Lin Xian, because the Duan clan was too strong. But who would have thought that Lin Xian would use 5 longevity pills and cause the Duan clan to fall into an extremely passive situation? Bhutan was already like this, and now there was even news that Lin Xian had destroyed a secret base of the Duan family. This was simply too shocking. On the other side, after Lin Xian left Nanshan City, he didn't immediately return to Sinmov College. Instead, he flew to a large forest nearby. This was because he wanted to get rid of the killing intent on his body. Previously, in the battle with the 8 great clans, Lin Xian had used the blood-red massacre sword intent. His entire person was like a god of death, abnormally fierce. The effect of that battle strength was very shocking. However, this killing intent was very fierce, and it would take some time to completely disperse it. If this killing intent couldn't be dispersed, it would probably affect Lin Xian's mind, and no one would be able to get close to him. In the vast forest, Lin Xian walked slowly. Everywhere he passed, countless trees and rocks were all broken. This wasn't done by Lin Xian at all. It was the effect of the killing intent on his body. Now, martial artists below the 9th celestial layer wouldn't even dare to get close to him. As for Lin Xian, he used the Great Dragon Sword Soul to maintain absolute clarity and avoid being affected by the killing intent. Gradually, the blood-red light in his eyes disappeared, and his blood-red hair also gradually returned to normal. The killing intent on his body was also weakening. 3 days later, Lin Xian returned to normal. It had to be said that the blood-red killing intent was too terrifying. It was only because he had the great dragon sword soul that he could maintain his clarity of mind at all times. Otherwise, if it was anyone else, they would have already collapsed. It was hard to imagine how the Blood Sword Emperor could maintain so much blood-red killing intent back then. Thinking of this, Lin Xian sighed. It's nothing. A king has his own domain. Thinking about it, the Blood Sword Emperor should have stored all the killing intent in his domain, which is why he could maintain absolute clarity of mind. The Crimson Dragon explained, a king's domain can be said to have endless magical uses and is very mysterious. When you step into this realm in the future, you will understand. A king's domain? Lin Xian's eyes were filled with anticipation. However, his current cultivation was only at the 7th celestial layer. He was still far from the king realm. Under normal circumstances, for a 7th celestial layer venerable to cultivate to the king realm, even if he was a genius, it would take him hundreds of years. Of course, this was the case if he didn't have a fortuitous encounter. If he had a fortuitous encounter, his cultivation would increase in a short period of time. However, this kind of fortuitous encounter couldn't be sought. Some people might not even encounter it in their entire lives. Lin Xian wouldn't place his hopes on such a faintly discernible fortuitous encounter. Although his cultivation was only at the 7th celestial layer, his great dragon sword soul had already reached the 8th celestial layer and was at the peak. It wouldn't be long before he broke through to the 9th celestial layer. Ruzalong, if my sword soul breaks through to the king realm in advance, will I be able to condense a king's domain? Lin Xian asked. This? The Crimson Dragon held his chin and fell into deep thought. Chapter 1297. Ruzalong, if my sword soul breaks through to the king realm in advance, will I be able to condense a king domain? Lin Xian asked. This? The Crimson Dragon rested its chin on its hand and fell into deep thought. To be honest, Lin Xian's situation was quite special. His sword soul could actually surpass his own cultivation. Theoretically, it should be possible, but I don't know if you can control that domain when the time comes. The Crimson Dragon said. Can I? Lin Xian's heart skipped a beat. If that was the case, then he was a lot closer to the king realm. He just needed to find enough energy to quickly awaken the dragon sword soul. Once the king domain was formed, Lin Xian believed that as long as he mastered the dragon sword soul, he would definitely be able to control the king domain. At that time, he would be able to control the king domain as a venerable. Just thinking about it made him excited. Let's go back to Sinma College. Lin Xian's figure flashed, and he turned into a sword ray that shot into the sky and disappeared into the horizon. Sinma College, Star Point Peak. This was Lin Xian's new residence. At this moment, the 9th Elder, 10th Elder, Yu Fei, and the others were anxiously waiting. What do you want me to say? How could you let the young master go to such a dangerous place alone? The 9th Elder looked at Yu Fei and the others and shook his head. That's enough. These people can't control what the young master wants to do. Don't scold them. The news has been sent back. The young master is fine, and the Duan clan's villa has been completely destroyed. The 10th Elder advised. Yu Fei and the others were covered in cold sweat, and they didn't dare to speak. At this moment, there was a flash in the sky, and a sword ray instantly landed on Star Point Peak. Brother Xian, Yu Fei and the others were overjoyed when they saw this. The 9th Elder and the 10th Elder also heaved a sigh of relief. Young Master, you're finally back. Young Master, if you didn't come back, the 9th Elder would have eaten these people. The 10th Elder said with a smile. I'm sorry for making everyone worry. Lin Xian briefly explained the situation, but it still made everyone shudder with fear. That's right, 9th Elder. Why did you go back some time ago? Could it be that something big has happened in the War God Palace? Lin Xian asked. The 9th Elder and the 10th Elder were core elders of the War God Palace. Previously, when the two of them returned together, it meant that something big had happened. That was why Lin Xian was so concerned. Young Master, don't worry. Nothing big happened. The two of us went back to bring something for young Master. The 9th Elder smiled. Take something? What is it? Lin Xian was even more curious. Naturally, these are the cultivation resources that the palace master left for you. Elder Ju said as he took out a storage ring. The resources my father left for me? Lin Xian was very curious. He quickly took the ring and probed it with his soul force. He was stunned. This is too rich. Bottles of pills, piles of spirit fruits, cultivation techniques, weapons, and defensive equipment. This was simply a small treasure trove. Lin Xian had only seen such rich resources in the remote sky secret realm. Other than that, he had never seen anything else. Ninth Elder, these are all for me? Lin Xian confirmed again. To be honest, he had said that he had to rely on himself to obtain cultivation resources. He did not believe that he would suddenly obtain so many cultivation resources out of thin air, even though these resources were given to him by his father. Young master, don't worry about using them. These are given to you by the palace master, and this is only the first portion of the resources. When your strength increases, there will be more resources. There are more resources. So rich. Lin Xian was pleasantly surprised. However, the 9th elder and the 10th elder sighed. Young master, you have suffered all these years. The two of them felt very guilty because these resources were nothing to the core disciples in the House of Kings. As the son of the War God Palace's palace master, Lin Xian had never enjoyed such good resources. It had to be said that it was hard to be confident. Don't worry, young master. The War God Palace will be your home in the future. The War God Palace will provide you with all the resources you need. Lin Xian asked and found out how extravagant the core disciples of the House of Kings were. No wonder those people had such high cultivation and were far stronger than others. The resources they usually used were not something ordinary warriors could imagine. Lin Xian had the great dragon sword soul and many fortuitous encounters, which was why he could be on par with those people. Now that he had become the young master of the War God Palace, he would definitely not fall behind those core disciples of the House of Kings in terms of resources. He checked and found that these resources were divided into 4 parts. The first part was pills that could be consumed by supremacies, and the effects were very good. The second part was a half-Earth rank artifact that contained an Earth rank artifact fragment. It was very powerful. The third part was a set of battle armor called the Cosmic Battle Armor. The fourth part was various cultivation techniques and secret manuals that were suitable for supremacies. When your strength increases to half-step king level and then king level, there will be more resources. The 9th elder explained. Lin Xian nodded, indicating that he understood. The first portion of the elixir resources was completely acceptable to him. As for the second portion, the treasured sword named Chongshan contained an Earth rank fragment treasure, which was indeed very powerful. However, Lin Xian checked and found that it was about the same as the Lone Star sword in his hand. However, the Lone Star sword was a nimble and speed-type sword, while the overlapped mountain sword was a powerful sword. It could be said that they both had their strengths. As for the third part of the Cosmic Battle Armor, Lin Xian was a little confused. It was different from what he had imagined. It was not a ready-made battle armor, but a very small, star-like stone. Elder, how do I use this? Lin Xian scratched his head with a puzzled expression. Young master, you just need to pour your blood into it. The 9th elder explained. This cosmic battle armor is very special. It comes from the mysterious cosmic secret realm. It's different from the battle armor on our continent. It needs to absorb the blood of cultivators before it can be unfolded. Moreover, this battle armor is very strong. It can withstand 70% of any attack below the king realm. 70%? Isn't that the same as the Red Lotus battle armor? Lin Xian was tempted. He quickly cut open his palm and placed the blue stone on his wound. The stone instantly absorbed his blood like a bottomless pit. Lin Xian was extremely shocked by the speed at which it absorbed his blood. Fortunately, the 9th elder had warned him, so he didn't resist. After absorbing around a third of his blood, the stone stopped and quickly fused into Lin Xian's palm. In the next moment, Lin Xian could clearly sense that the blue stone in his palm was like his body. Astral Battle Armor. Lin Xian bellowed, and a set of blue armor quickly appeared on the surface of his body, covering him in an instant. It covered him completely from head to toe, and only his eyes were exposed. The blue battle armor flickered like stars under the sunlight. After testing it out, Lin Xian noticed that the astral battle armor was really able to withstand 70% of the damage. This made him extremely delighted. After all, the Red Lotus battle armor he just refined was also able to withstand 70% of the damage. Its effect was extraordinarily good. However, there were still some differences. Thus, Lin Xian told him everything he had heard about the Star Mystery Realm. The Star Mystery Realm is in the sky? That's right. That should be a secret realm left behind by the Heaven's Legacy race. Brat, you're quite lucky to be able to obtain the star armor made by the Heaven's Legacy race. The Crimson Dragon exclaimed. Heaven's Legacy race? What's that? Is it very powerful? Of course it is. The Heaven's Legacy race is a very mysterious race that specializes in all kinds of manufacturing. Moreover, they were very famous in the ancient times and even the immemorial times. However, they are too mysterious, and very few people have seen them. Only some of their products have been passed down in the world. The star armor you're wearing is one of them. However, it's a low-level one. What? This is low-level? Lin Xian stared. Of course it's low-level. It can only block 70% of the damage. You have the Red Lotus armor, right? That blueprint should also be from the Heaven's Legacy race. What? The Red Lotus armor too? This time, Lin Xian was really shocked. That was an armor that could block 90% of the damage. He didn't expect it to be made by the Heaven's Legacy race. This is nothing. This is just the tip of the iceberg. When you become stronger, you'll know how terrifying the Heaven's Legacy race is. Let me put it this way. Kings are very powerful, right? Lin Xian and the others nodded. The Ninth Elder even said, of course, they are the pinnacle of existence on this continent. However, the Heaven's Legacy race once created a puppet that could easily tear apart a king. The Crimson Dragon revealed an explosive piece of news. What? This time, everyone was stunned. A puppet that could tear apart a king? No matter how they heard it, it was like listening to a myth. The Crimson Dragon snorted. You guys don't have to be so surprised. The Heaven's Legacy race's strength is far beyond your imagination. Moreover, the mysteries of this world are also far beyond your understanding. Cultivate well. One day, when you leave this continent and break through the endless sea, you'll know how vast the world is. Now that you mention it, even I am tempted. Lin Xian clenched his fists. Even the Ninth Elder and the others were shocked. This was because they had only seen some legends in ancient books. They didn't know as much as the Crimson Dragon. Everyone discussed for a while before calming down. Then, Lin Xian looked at the fourth treasure. It was the secret manuals. Lin Xian looked at them and found that they were roughly divided into two categories. One was about cultivation, and the other was about the history and knowledge of the continent and martial arts. The cultivation category was divided into physical and spiritual. The Ninth Elder said, according to the Palace Master, when a warrior cultivates, his body and soul cannot be separated. He has to cultivate both. He even proposed the wooden bucket principle, which states that a cultivator's strength is determined by his weakest aspect. Therefore, both the body and soul must be cultivated. Even if you can't specialize in them, the difference can't be too great. Hearing this, Lin Xian nodded. Indeed, the closer he got to the end, the more he felt the importance of these two aspects. There were a total of 2 cultivation manuals. One was the Sky Spill visualization art for cultivating the soul, and the other was the Furious Dragon art for cultivating blood chi. These 2 cultivation manuals had reached the level of Earth-rank martial arts. Moreover, they were extremely rare cultivation manuals. Lin Xian had seen many Earth-rank martial arts before, but most of them were fist techniques, sword techniques, saber techniques, and other martial arts with extremely strong offensive power. Very few of them were cultivation manuals for martial artists. And now, he finally had such a cultivation manual. If a martial artist wanted to unleash extremely powerful combat strength, he had to be strong first. Only then could he withstand that kind of powerful explosion. In the following days, Lin Xian began to cultivate on Point Star Peak. He didn't directly cultivate the sky spill visualization art and the furious dragon art. Instead, he read through the basic martial arts knowledge. Originally, Lin Xian was just curious and wanted to see what kind of knowledge there was. However, after reading it, he was extremely shocked and felt that his worldview had been turned upside down. Chapter 1299. Originally, Lin Xian was just curious and wanted to see what kind of knowledge there was. However, after reading it, he was extremely shocked and felt that his worldview had been overturned. It turned out that some of his previous understandings were incomplete and even wrong. Some of the sayings in these books had opened his eyes. In the past, because of the existence of the dragon sword spirit, Lord Alcohol, and the others, Lin Xian knew that this world was more magical than he had imagined and that he had a long way to go. However, after understanding this knowledge, he now knew why those people were so strong. The strength of a martial artist was one thing, but the amount of strength they could unleash was different. For example, for people of the same realm, some could unleash 10,000 kilograms of strength, while others could only unleash 5,000 kilograms of strength. There were even some who could unleash 12,000 kilograms of strength. The gap between them was huge. There were many factors, such as one's own conditions, martial arts techniques, and experience. Take cultivation techniques, for example. Yellow and profound grades were too crude and could only unleash a portion of a martial artist's strength. Only spirit-grade cultivation techniques could unleash a martial artist's full strength. However, that was all. Earth-grade cultivation techniques, which were above the spirit grade, could unleash strength that exceeded the martial artist's own strength. For example, Earth-grade cultivation techniques could unleash strength that exceeded a martial artist's by 3 to 5 times. If it was a martial artist with 10,000 kilograms of strength, after unleashing an Earth-grade cultivation technique, it was very likely that he could unleash 50,000 kilograms of strength. This was a difference of 5 times, far surpassing people of the same realm. For example, Lin Xian had used the Gale Lightning Sword technique and killed 4 9th-level supremacies who were far stronger than him. It was estimated that the strength he unleashed at that time was more than 5 times. Not only that, martial arts techniques and treasured weapons could also be stacked. If a martial artist had an Earth-grade martial arts technique and a high-grade treasured weapon, it would not be a problem to unleash more than 10 times the strength. Of course, the prerequisite for all of this was that one had to be strong. Otherwise, it would be like a baby holding a treasure sword and a peerless expert holding a stone. The result was obvious. As for soul power, it was roughly divided into 2 types. One was object control, which was mainly used to engrave inscriptions and control objects. The other was illusion, which used soul power to attack directly. Both of them had their own characteristics. For now, Lin Xian was on the first path of engraving inscriptions. For example, Zhao Xue's virtual sky eye clearly walked the path of the second type of illusion, which directly used soul attacks. Lin Xian currently did not have any thoughts of using illusions to attack, but his great dragon sword soul had both physical attacks and the ability to cut through illusions. Therefore, he was not afraid of being attacked by illusions. After understanding everything, Lin Xian began to cultivate the Tian Yin visualization art. This was a way to train one's soul power. There were a total of 9 diagrams, and each diagram was a unique pattern. The further one went, the more complicated it became. What Lin Xian needed to do was to use his soul force to quickly draw out the diagrams. If he could complete it within the time limit, it would be considered a success. Then, he would be able to cultivate the next diagram. Don't underestimate these diagrams. The first one had over 10,000 diagrams, densely packed together. Ordinary martial artists would feel dizzy just by looking at them. With Lin Xian's current soul power, he could easily complete the first 3 diagrams, but he failed to complete the 4th diagram. This aroused his fighting spirit even more, so he had been cultivating the 4th diagram these days. In addition, he also cultivated a cultivation technique that strengthened his blood and qi, the furious dragon art. This was a cultivation technique that increased a martial artist's blood and qi and strengthened their physique. The body was a martial artist's capital. Only with a strong body could one withstand the doubled attack power. Otherwise, even if one had a powerful martial skill, they would not be able to use it. And the Furious Dragon Art was the best cultivation technique to build a martial artist's body. The Furious Dragon Art was divided into a total of 5 levels. Each level could withstand a 5-fold increase in attack power, and it could be stacked. In other words, when he reached the 5th level, Lin Xian could withstand a 25-fold increase in attack power. 25 times. This was an unimaginable number. If he mastered it, he would probably be invincible in the supremacy realm. For these 2 cultivation techniques, Lin Xian even prepared different pills to assist in cultivation. It could be said that he had thought it through very well. Time flew, and in the blink of an eye, a month had passed. A month later, Lin Xian broke through. First, his great dragon sword soul broke through to the 9th level of the supremacy realm, and his cultivation had also reached the 8th level of the supremacy realm. Secondly, he had already mastered the 4th diagram of the sky spill visualization diagram, and his soul power had also greatly improved. He had also cultivated the Furious Dragon Art to the 2nd level. It could be said that Lin Xian's strength had undergone a tremendous change. Now, he did not need to use an Earth-rank martial skill to easily kill an early-stage 9th-level supremacy. A mid-stage 9th-level supremacy was not his match, and he could even contend with a late-stage 9th-level supremacy now. In addition, he had the Starry Sky armor and the Red Lotus armor. The combination of the two could definitely offset 80% of any attack. At that time, even a late-stage 9th-level supremacy would not be his match. This time, he had taken another big step towards the King realm. "Young Master, you've broken through." The 9th Elder and the others were very excited. They could feel a sense of fear from Lin Xian. Knowing the situation, the 9th Elder and the 10th Elder gasped. How long had it been? The young master's strength had already surpassed them. This was something they did not dare to imagine. This was not completely the effect of resources. Even if the core disciples of the House of Kings were given such resources, they would not be able to improve to this extent in a short month. Talent. This was definitely talent. Lin Xian's heaven-defying cultivation talent was something that the 9th Elder and the others had rarely seen in their lives. Perhaps even the kings of the Tianwu continent could not reach this level when they were young. This talent is really too powerful, the 9th Elder praised. The 10th Elder also nodded in satisfaction. Yes, whether it is temperament, talent, or perseverance, they are all top-notch. I'm afraid there are very few people in the continent who can be compared to the young master. What Prince Lingfeng? What Tianwu's 4 young masters? They're just older. If they were the same age as the young master, I'm afraid they would not be the young master's match. The 9th Elder coldly snorted. After hearing this, Lin Xian smiled slightly. He did not care about the title of Tianwu's 4 young masters at all. This was because his eyes had already moved away from the same generation. His targets were the older generation figures, the kings who stood at the peak. Only those people could arouse his battle intent. However, there was one thing that he had to do. How was the Duan clan recently? At this time, it was time for Yu Fei to stand up. Reporting to Brother Xian, the Duan clan is already in a terrible state. Many of their core elders were killed. Moreover, half a month ago, a half-step king gathered the heads of 3 core elders and exchanged them for a longevity pill. Oh, someone exchanged for it? Was it that half-step king from the auction? Yes, it was him. Is there any other news? Lin Xian asked again. Chapter 1300. Half a month ago, a half-step king collected the heads of 3 core elders and exchanged them for a longevity pill. Yu Fei reported. Oh, someone exchanged for it? Was it that half-step king from the auction? Lin Xian asked. Yes, it was him. Any other news? Lin Xian asked again. Yes. Although the Duan clan suffered heavy losses, it wasn't enough to topple them. Moreover, Prince Lingfeng and the martial saint were also ambushed twice, but they both failed. There was even a half-step king who died at the hands of the martial saint. Hearing this news, Lin Xian was greatly astonished. Half-step king was an existence that surpassed the martial saint realm. It was extremely terrifying. Sword Saint was a half-step king when he was at his peak. However, Such a ferocious person actually failed in his assassination. Not only that, he was even killed by the martial saint. Just how powerful is this martial saint? Lin Xian sucked in a breath of air, and a trace of graveness appeared in his eyes. Obviously, the martial saint's strength had exceeded his expectations. However, thinking about it, since the other party dared to use the title of martial saint, it meant that he was extremely powerful. Young master, the martial saint is indeed difficult to deal with. Although he is only in the martial saint realm, his battle strength has already surpassed some half-step kings. It can be said that he is extremely powerful. As expected of the Duan clan, a martial saint had surpassed half-step kings, and there was an even more terrifying Duan clan head above him. It could be assumed that the martial saint was not far from a true martial saint. No wonder the other party was so ambitious and wanted to seize the palace of war while Lin Zhan was in seclusion. If it weren't for Lin Xian, the other party might have already succeeded. Don't worry, I know what I'm doing. I won't touch the martial saint right now. However, I won't let that Ling Feng guy go. It's time to settle some things. A trace of coldness appeared in Lin Xian's eyes. Young master, you want to make a move on Prince Ling Feng? Hearing this, the ninth elder and the others' eyelids twitched. They couldn't help but be shocked. Although Lin Xian's strength had increased tremendously, Prince Ling Feng was no ordinary person. He was one of the top 4 of the younger generation. Furthermore, Prince Ling Feng took advantage of his age. Therefore, he was much stronger than Lin Xian. Not only that, but he also had countless experts around him. It would be extremely difficult to kill him. Not long ago, a half-step king tried to assassinate Prince Ling Feng, but failed in the end. One could imagine how difficult it was to assassinate Prince Ling Feng. But now, Lin Xian actually said that he wanted to touch Prince Ling Feng. Young master, please reconsider. Although Prince Ling Feng deserves to die, now is not the time to make a move on him. The ninth elder shook his head. The 10th elder also advised from the side. That's right, young master. Why don't you wait until you reach the 9th heavenly layer before making a move? However, Lin Xian shook his head slightly. The Duan clan is powerful. Although they're being suppressed now, it won't be long before they recover. At that time, it will be too late to make a move. While they're not in a good state, we should make a move decisively. At the very least, we should get rid of Prince Ling Feng first. At this point, Lin Xian's lips curled into a smile. Moreover, I don't plan to fight him head-on. I have my own methods. Young master, if you have any methods, just tell us. If it's feasible, we'll agree. But if the success rate isn't high, us old men won't let you take the risk. The 9th elder and the 10th elder spoke in unison. Indeed, Lin Xian had a noble status. He was their young master and their hope. They would not allow any danger to befall Lin Xian. However, Lin Xian seemed very confident. He said slowly, "We can set a trap and make him come out of the Duan clan directly. Just like how he set me up this time, we can do the same to him." Hearing this, the 9th elder and the 10th elder were puzzled. That may be the case, but how can we lure him out? The Duan clan is in a bad situation now. With his vigilance, he probably won't come out. Lin Xian smiled. I just destroyed one of his secret bases. He must want to kill me now. If I report my whereabouts to him, he'll definitely bring people over. No, that's too dangerous. Elders, I'm not done yet. Why don't you listen to me and make a decision? Lin Xian continued. Last time he sent the Skynet to kill me, I controlled a man named Falcon. This assassin's cultivation is at the 8th heaven of the venerable realm. Although he's not the top, he should be considered an upper echelon of the Skynet. I want to lure the leader of the Skynet out through him. As long as he comes out, I'm confident that I can control him. Let's use the leader of the Skynet as a spy and send a message to Prince Ling Feng. I'm sure he won't suspect anything. As long as we set up an inescapable net and a killing formation, we can definitely kill him. Hearing Lin Xian's words, the 9th elder and the others were shocked. What? Young master, you've also controlled the Skynet? They were too surprised. The Skynet was an extremely powerful assassin organization in the Blood Realm. They acted strangely. Moreover, even if they failed, they would self-destruct and no one would be caught. But now, Lin Xian had controlled their people. It was too shocking. If that's the case, then this matter might not be impossible. The ninth elder nodded in agreement. This was indeed a good opportunity to kill Prince Lingfeng. Although Prince Lingfeng was only of the younger generation, he was a symbol of the Duan family. Moreover, he was the most famous person in the Sky Martial continent. If he was killed, the Duan family would definitely suffer an unimaginable loss. This was also what the ninth elder and the others wanted to see. That was why they were moved. However, the 10th elder frowned and said, "Although that's the case, our strength is not enough to kill everyone in the Duan family. At most, it will be a draw." "Don't worry about that. With Ruzalong here, we can definitely set up a peerless killing formation." Lin Xian smiled. "Don't worry, leave it to Bin Huang. He'll definitely kill them. As long as it's not a king, there won't be any problems." The Crimson Dragon was very confident. If he was given time to set up a killing formation, he was even confident that he could kill a half-step king. The ninth elder and the others knew a little about the Crimson Dragon's background. Seeing him speak so confidently, they immediately let go of the worries in their hearts. "Young master, what do you need us to do?" Lin Xian pondered for a moment, while the Crimson Dragon said, "I want to set up a killing formation. I need some special materials. I'll make a list. Quickly find them." Indeed, this was not an ordinary formation. It was a killing formation that could kill a half-step king. It needed special materials to set it up. The Crimson Dragon waved his dragon claws and quickly made a list. The ninth elder and the others went to prepare the materials, while Lin Xian contacted Falcon and prepared to lure out the leader of the Skynet. Chapter 1301. Skynet was an extremely mysterious assassin organization in the Blood Realm. Now that it was controlled by Prince Lingfeng, it had become a sharp sword in his hands. These years, Skynet had assassinated many peerless experts for Prince Lingfeng. Among them, there were many 9th-level venerables and even peak 9th-level venerables. There were even rumors that Skynet had once assassinated a half-step king at its peak and had even succeeded. This statement added a bit of ferocity to the Skynet organization. It could be said that Skynet was an extremely powerful organization. Even ordinary 6th-grade sects did not dare to provoke them. Falcon was an assassin of heavenly kings, and a 4-star assassin at that. Skynet's assassins were ranked from 1 to 5 stars according to their strength. A 4-star assassin could already assassinate any 8th-level venerables. It could be said that they were the backbone of Skynet. On this day, Falcon brought back a shocking piece of news. "What? You said you found Lin Xian's tracks?" Falcon's news shocked many people. Among them, a few 5-star assassins' eyes blossomed with a terrifying light. "Where is he?" Quickly inform the head venerate and Prince Lingfeng about this. Many people quickly moved. However, Falcon shook his head and said, "It's useless. Even if Prince Lingfeng knows, I'm afraid he won't be able to retaliate. Because Lin Xian's speed is very fast. I'm afraid he'll reach a safe place soon. At that time, we won't be able to make a move. Damn it, that brat is too cunning. No matter what, we can't let him go this time. I'll go inform the head venerate." Among them, a gray-robed old man said with a grave expression, "Falcon, you come with me." The head venerate was the leader of heavenly kings. He was incomparably mysterious. Apart from Prince Lingfeng and a few 5-star assassins, no one else knew what the head venerate looked like. And now, Falcon, a 4-star assassin, actually had the chance to see the head venerate. It had to be said that this was too shocking. At the same time, this also showed how important Lin Xian's information was. After passing through layers of secret passages and arrays, Falcon finally arrived in front of a pavilion. He knew that this was where the head venerate lived. "Remember, you only need to tell me what you know. As for the other things, you don't need to tell me," the gray-robed old man warned coldly. "My lord, don't worry. I know what to say." Falcon nodded respectfully. However, an undetectable light flashed in his eyes. "Head venerate, I have an urgent matter to report." In the next moment, the gray-robed old man respectfully said, "Come in." A cold voice rang out. Then, the pitch-black door in front of them suddenly opened, revealing a gloomy passage that seemed to lead to the netherworld. Falcon took a deep breath and followed the gray-robed elder into the passageway. This was a curved staircase with ancient walls on both sides. Hanging above were oil lamps with flickering flames. Although the stairs were not high, Falcon seemed to have experienced thousands of years. Finally, he arrived at the highest level. There was a large hall there, surrounded by dark green flames. Seeing the flames, Falcon's pupils shrank as he recalled a rumor. That was because this kind of dark green flame used the flesh and blood of powerhouses as lamp oil. Thinking of this, Falcon broke out in a cold sweat. Then, he retracted his gaze from the dark green flames and looked to the sides. He saw white skulls hanging on the walls on both sides. Beside each skull was a line of small words. Falcon took a closer look and realized that those were the names and cultivations of cultivators. He realized that those people were all Ninth Heaven supremacies when they were alive. The strongest were even peak Ninth Heaven supremacies. They were densely packed and innumerable. The walls on both sides seemed to be piled up with white bones. Was this the true strength of the Skynet organization? It was simply too terrifying. Falcon felt a chill in his heart. This was the first time he had seen such a scene. If others were to know of this, their jaws would definitely drop from shock. One had to know that Ninth Heaven supremacies were the backbone of any sect. They were also peerless experts in the eyes of others. However, there were actually countless Ninth Heaven supremacy skulls hanging in this hall. It was simply too shocking. "Greetings, Head Venerate." The gray-robed old man respectfully bowed. Falcon also withdrew his thoughts and respectfully knelt on the ground, kowtowing. At the same time, he shouted, "Greetings, Head Venerate." There was a throne made of white bones. It was about 2 meters tall and pure white, emitting a terrifying baleful aura. At the front of the armrest, there were 2 skulls that flickered with a peculiar light. Those were the skulls of half-step kings. At this moment, a slender palm was placed on top of the skulls. The slender fingers lightly tapped on the bones as a cold voice resounded in the void. "What business do you have?" Reporting to Head Venerate, "We've discovered traces of Lin Xian." The gray-robed old man bowed. "What?" Hearing this, the voice in front suddenly became solemn. At the same time, a surge of killing intent surged out, instantly drowning the entire hall. When this killing intent appeared, the gray-robed old man and Falcon both trembled and broke out in cold sweat. They were like small boats in a storm that could be swallowed up at any time. "Where's that fellow now? Tell me in detail." "It's like this. This news came from the 4-star assassin, Falcon. How about we let him explain it to you?" The gray-robed old man said and looked at Falcon. Falcon took a deep breath and raised his head to look to the front. He saw an iceberg-like figure sitting on the cold white bone throne. It was a woman, sitting on the white bone throne like an emperor. She was wearing a black robe with a blood-red totem on it. She wore a golden mask and her face couldn't be seen clearly. Only a pair of cold eyes without any emotions were looking down. Reporting to Head Venerate, "It's like this," Falcon quickly said. Luo Head Venerate heard this and coldly said, "No need to report this to Prince Lingfeng. We'll deal with it ourselves." "Yes," the gray-robed old man respectfully said. "This subordinate will go and organize people." "No need, I'll go myself." Luo Head Venerate stood up and his cold voice echoed, "That brat is full of tricks. There must be a peerless expert protecting him. It's not that I don't believe in your strength, but I don't want any accidents to happen this time, so I'll go myself." Hearing this, the gray-robed old man was shocked. Head Venerate personally making a move. How many years had it been since something like this happened? One had to know that not only did the Head Venerate have a high status, he was also the strongest in Skynet. When Luo Head Venerate made a move before, even peak 9th layer Venerates would tremble. He never thought that he would have to deal with a brat. However, this was good. With the Head Venerate making a move, there would be no mistakes. Chapter 1302. In the past, when Luo Head Venerate made a move, even those peak 9th layer Venerables would tremble. Who would have thought that she would have to deal with a little brat? However, this was also good. With Lord Head Venerate making a move, nothing would go wrong. The gray-robed old man also let out a sigh of relief because Lin Xian had given them a lot of pressure. The other party created one storm after another, pressuring them to the point that they couldn't breathe. Now that Lord Head Venerate had made a move, they could definitely kill him. Falcon knelt on the ground, his heart filled with joy. He was now Lin Xian's slave. His goal was naturally to make the Head Venerate make a move. Now, it seemed that he had achieved his goal. Since she had decided to personally assassinate Lin Xian, Luo Head Venerate no longer hesitated. She looked at the gray-robed old man and said in a deep voice, "You can leave." Then, she looked at Falcon kneeling on the ground and said coldly, "You'll come with me?" Yes. The gray-robed old man and Falcon respectfully agreed. Falcon stood up, and the gray-robed old man quickly retreated. In an instant, only Falcon and the golden-masked Luo Head Venerate were left in the hall. "Dark Crow, come out!" Luo Head Venerate shouted. Then, the void split open and a strange crow flew out of the darkness, landing on the Head Venerate's shoulder. The crow was completely black, like black jade, but its eyes were blood-red. Not only that, its body also gave off a cold aura. Falcon quietly swallowed his saliva. He had heard of this dark crow before. It was a type of demonic beast that was extremely evil. It specialized in eating the corpses of experts and had powerful illusion and concealment abilities. For an assassin, it was the best companion. However, this kind of dark crow was extremely rare and hard to raise. Only Luo Head Venerate had it in the entire Heavenly Net organization. Luo Head Venerate waved her sleeve and an invisible power surged out, enveloping Falcon. Then, the two of them disappeared. When they reappeared, they were already in the sky. The dark crow cawed twice, and then its body quickly grew to a size of more than 10 meters. It flapped its wings and quickly disappeared with Luo Head Venerate and Falcon. In a forest not far from Senma College, Lin Xian sat cross-legged on a boulder. On the side, the Crimson Dragon and the Snow White Fox were lazily leaning against each other. The surroundings were very quiet. No demonic beasts dared to disturb them. All of a sudden, Lin Xian opened his eyes and revealed a cold smile at the corner of his mouth. "He's here." Through the beast slave seal, he was able to learn from Falcon that Skynet had already taken action. Next, he just needed to keep track of their whereabouts. After a while, Lin Xian stood up and said to the Crimson Dragon and Snow White Monkey, "They're almost here. Stop messing around." Both of them knew the severity of the situation, so they quieted down. Lin Xian quickly formed a seal with his hands, using the Blood Sword Legacy to create a Blood Shadow doppelganger. Right now, other than him, no one else could tell if the doppelganger was real or fake. After letting the doppelganger sit on the boulder, Lin Xian set up a formation as a defense for the doppelganger. Then, he brought the Crimson Dragon and Snow White Monkey to hide. With the Crimson Dragon here, even if they hid nearby, the other side wouldn't find them. Not long after they were done, a gray ray of light appeared in the sky. That light was Luo Head Venerate and the others. However, the two of them were hiding in the air and didn't release any aura. Especially Luo Head Venerate. His entire body seemed to be transparent. If it wasn't for Falcon as a spy, Lin Xian wouldn't have found them. "Head Venerate, that brat is below." Falcon transmitted, "Stay here and don't move. Be careful and hide your aura." Luo Shou Honored Master instructed before flying down. She was very fast and instantly arrived above Lin Xian's doppelganger. Formation? Disdain appeared in Luo Head Venerate's eyes as she slowly pulled out a treasured blade. The entire process was silent. Although the formation below looked very exquisite to outsiders, it was useless against her. Her figure flashed and she turned into a flash of light, her speed reaching the extreme. The exquisite formation didn't have any use as it was directly pierced through by Luo Head Venerate. In the next moment, a blade light flashed as boundless killing intent turned into a fine blade light that instantly slashed down. The entire space was like a mirror as it split in half. This blade was clean, neat, and vicious. No one in the Sovereign Realm could block it. The figure sitting on the boulder was no exception as his body was instantly split in half. However, Luo head Venerate quickly frowned. She found that the body that fell wasn't a real person, but a pool of blood. Doppelganger? Her pupils constricted as she had a bad feeling in her heart. The other side actually made a doppelganger here. What did they want to do? Did they lure her out? Or did they run away the moment she made her move? She didn't know. So in the next moment, Luo head Venerate's eyes were like lightning as she looked around, wanting to find the person hiding in the dark. However, at this time, a burst of applause came from behind. Amazing, truly amazing. That blade just now, even a peak 9th layer Sovereign Realm cultivator wouldn't be able to block it. A voice rang out, breaking the silence. Who? Luo head Venerate's body froze as all the hairs on her body stood up. Before she made her move, she had already looked around and didn't find anyone. But now, someone had walked out from behind her. If the other side was a peerless expert, if they made a move against her, she would already be dead. In the next moment, she suddenly turned around and released countless blade lights that formed a defense. What? It's you. Luo head Venerate's expression changed. She didn't think that the person behind her would be Lin Xian, the target she wanted to kill. This was your trap? Luo head Venerate was smart and instantly understood. She snorted coldly. You've spent so much effort. What is your goal? While speaking, she quickly looked around to prevent herself from being surrounded. She knew about the Duan family villa being destroyed, and she also knew that Lin Xian had a powerful force that could destroy 9th layer sovereigns. So at this moment, she was extremely careful, afraid of being surrounded by Lin Xian's experts. After all, no matter how strong she was, she couldn't block the combined attacks of countless peerless experts. Relax, I didn't bring anyone else, Lin Xian said with a faint smile. Luo head Venerate looked around and didn't find anyone. She sneered. Do you think you can stop me by yourself? She looked at Lin Xian with undisguised killing intent in her eyes. Although the assassination didn't succeed, it wasn't too late to make a move now. After all, the other side's cultivation and strength couldn't compare to hers. If she wanted to make a move, no one would be able to stop her. One blade. She only needed one blade, and she would be able to kill the other side. However, she didn't slash out. Not only that, she was completely stunned. Chapter 1303. One slash. She only needed one slash, and she would be able to kill him. However, she didn't slash out. Not only that, she was completely stunned. Because Falcon quickly descended from the sky and came nearby, respectfully bowing to Lin Xian. Master. Falcon respectfully called out, like an incomparably devout believer. Get up. Lin Xian nodded. Luo head sect saw this and was incomparably shocked. Betrayal. Someone from their Heaven's Net organization actually betrayed them. This was simply too hard to believe. One had to know that the Heaven's Net assassins were trained from young. They were absolutely loyal to the organization. Even if they were in a situation of certain death, they would self-destruct and never reveal any information. It could be said that they were loyal and would never betray them. But now, someone had betrayed them, and it was a 4-star assassin. How did he do it? Falcon, why did you betray us? Luo head sect didn't understand. Because he is my master. Falcon's expression was cold, as if he didn't recognize Luo head sect. Humph. Luo head sect snorted. Although I don't know why you betrayed us, you actually dared to betray the organization. There is no way for you to live. Falcon's betrayal truly made Luo head sect furious. However, Lin Xian just sneered. Rather than threatening him here, why not think about his own situation? You spent so much effort to get Falcon to betray us just to lure me out? Luo head sect sneered in disdain. What, do you think you can kill me with your strength? Kill you? No, no, no. Lin Xian shook his head. You're so strong and proficient in assassination. It would be a pity if you died. However, if you can become my servant and work for me, then my strength will increase by another notch. That is the best result. What? You want to get me to betray you? Luo head sect was stunned, then snorted, truly naive. Brat, stop with your flowery words. Die for me. Luo head sect roared. The long blade in his hand slashed down. The saber light was shocking, and the killing intent was shocking. This saber strike was incredibly terrifying. Most likely, even a ninth heaven venerable would not be able to withstand it. However, Lin Xian used the Furious Dragon incantation and illusory demon steps at the same time, exploding with 5 times the speed. In the blink of an eye, he dodged the terrifying attack. Then, with a flip of his palm, 10,000 beast ding floated in the air. What? He dodged it? This was impossible. How can he be so fast? Luo Head Venerate was shocked. She didn't believe it. One had to realize that this saber strike of hers was extremely frightening. There was absolutely no ninth heaven venerated cultivator that could block it. However, the other party's speed was really too astonishing. In fact, it was even faster than her saber light. Her face darkened. She wanted to attack again, but in the next moment, her body trembled. This was because the small black cauldron floating in the void suddenly shot out a black ray of light and instantly entered the space between her eyebrows. Luo Head Venerate's body trembled as he let out a pitiful cry. Clang! The treasured saber in his hand also fell to the ground. His entire being had descended into madness. Get the hell out of here! Luo Head Venerate roared, releasing a powerful killing intent. This killing intent condensed into a formless saber that fiercely slashed at the black ray of light. However, she had still underestimated the 10,000 beast ding. That was an earth-tier treasure. Its power was unfathomable. If Lin Xian used the Great Dragon Sword Spirit, he might be able to block it. However, Luo Head Venerate couldn't. Although she was a ninth heaven venerate, although her killing intent was shocking, against an earth-tier treasure, she had no chance of resisting. However, Lin Xian was also shocked. Last time, when he had subdued Falcon, it had only been an instant. However, this time, after such a long stalemate, the other party still hadn't completely subdued him. It had to be said that this was too shocking. As expected of the head venerate of Skynet, her strength was truly formidable. Lin Xian sighed in surprise. Luckily, he had the 10,000 beast ding and the beast slave imprint. Otherwise, if he had to face Luo Head Venerate, he probably wouldn't be able to fight a huge battle. However, even so, this time, he had used up a broken earth tier treasure to make the 10,000 beast ding attack. This price was extremely expensive. After an incense's time, Luo Head Venerate's legs went soft and she sat on the ground. It was as if she had gone through a huge battle and didn't have any strength left. Lin Xian took out a pill from his storage ring and flicked it out. Eat it. Luo Head Venerate listened and obediently picked up the pill on the ground and put it in her mouth. Very quickly, she recovered her strength. Master. In the next moment, she stood up and walked over to Lin Xian and knelt down. At the side, Falcon also knelt down respectfully. If anyone saw this scene, their jaw would drop. Who was she? She was the head venerate of Skynet, an extremely powerful ninth heaven venerate. Her status was equivalent to the sect master of a 6th-rank sect. Such a person was in existence that could call the wind and summon the rain and sky martial continent. She was a peerless expert in the eyes of the world. However, right now, she was kneeling in front of Lin Xian. Seeing this, Lin Xian nodded his head in satisfaction. Then, he stretched out his finger and gestured. What's your name? Luo Bingshan. A moving voice rang out. Very good. I'll call you Bingshan from now on. Now, stand up. Lin Xian said. Yes, master. After receiving the order, Luo Bingshan quickly stood up. At the side, Falcon was still kneeling respectfully on the ground, his head buried deep in the ground. Bingshan, take off your mask. Lin Xian was very curious. What kind of face was under the golden mask? To be honest, when he saw Luo Bingshan earlier, he was also very surprised. He didn't expect the leader of Skynet to be a woman. Furthermore, it was a mysterious woman wearing a mask. As a man, he was curious about this. Yes. Luo Bingshan replied respectfully. Then, she stretched out her hand and gently took off the golden mask on her face. At the side, Falcon was still kneeling respectfully on the ground. Without Lin Xian's order, he wouldn't move. After the golden mask was slowly taken off, a beautiful face appeared. Lin Xian was also slightly surprised. He didn't expect the other party to be so beautiful. Delicate facial features and a white face. She was like a peerless beauty. However, she had a cold aura, as if she was 1,000 miles away. Indeed, she had the temperament of an ice beauty. Put it on, Lin Xian said. Yes, master. Soon, Bingshan put the golden mask on her face again. However, from her gaze, it could be seen that she was extremely respectful to Lin Xian. Find a way to lure Prince Ling Feng out. Next, Lin Xian began to assign tasks to Luo Bingshan. After everything was done, Lin Xian let them go back. Looking at the backs of the two leaving, a cold smile appeared at the corner of his mouth. Humph, Prince Ling Feng. It's time to settle the score with you. A breeze blew, and the leaves fluttered. Lin Xian's body turned into a puff of green smoke and disappeared. Chapter 1304. Next, Lin Xian returned to Star Point Peak to cultivate while waiting for news from Bingshan. During this time, the 9th and 10th elders had also returned. They had already collected all the materials written by the Crimson Dragon. The Crimson Dragon looked at the materials on the ground and said confidently, "Don't worry. Although I haven't fully recovered my strength, I can definitely set up a king's killing array with these materials." Then, he let out a strange cry and disappeared in a flash of red light with all the materials on the ground. Starpoint Peak quieted down again, and Lin Xian also focused on his cultivation. He had already mastered the Gale Lightning Sword and illusory demon steps that he had obtained years ago. At first, the 5 swords could kill late-stage 9th-level martial artists, but the illusory demon steps made his speed as fast as a peak 9th-level martial artist. Now, he focused on the void-shattering finger, 9 changes of the firmament, sky spill visualization art, and furious dragon arts. These 4 martial arts were all Earth-class martial arts, and their power was beyond imagination. However, as Lin Xian's soul power and physical fitness improved, his speed of cultivating these Earth-class martial arts also increased. Now, he could already store 3 void-shattering finger and use the first 4 changes of the 9 changes of the firmament. However, he still had not broken through the sky spill visualization art. Lin Xian knew that when he could complete the 5th diagram, no one below the king level would be able to surpass his soul power. 10 days later, the Crimson Dragon sent news that the king's killing array had been set up. Hearing this, Lin Xian was overjoyed. He knew that everything was ready, and he just had to wait for Prince Ling Feng to come. Not long after, Luo Bingshan also sent news that she had successfully deceived Prince Ling Feng. Great! Lin Xian clenched his fists. He had guessed correctly. Luo Bingshan's position was very high, and Prince Ling Feng would not doubt her words. However, Prince Ling Feng was not careless. According to Luo Bingshan's information, he had brought a large number of 9th-level venerables with him, and many of them were peak 9th-level venerables. Even a half-step king would have a headache facing such a power. Fortunately, Lin Xian had already arranged the king killing array in advance, which was capable of killing any cultivator below the king realm. Otherwise, he really wouldn't have been able to contend with the other party. Go. This time, Lin Xian brought along the 9th and 10th elders. 3 days later, Lin Xian, Elder Jiao, and the others landed on a lone mountain. This mountain was called Chongling Mountain. It was far away from the city and could be said to be very remote. The trees on the mountain were lush and verdant. Birds and beasts flew away, bringing with them a rich vitality. In one of the open spaces, the Crimson Dragon was dancing with joy. The setup is complete. It was finally done. Haha, Bin Huang is a genius. Lin Xian, Elder 9, and the rest landed and looked around curiously. Where is the array formation? 9th Elder was puzzled. 10th Elder also frowned. Is there an array formation here? Of course there is. Not only is there an array formation, but it is also a peerless array formation. The Crimson Dragon said proudly, I have arranged a king killing array here. It can definitely kill any cultivator below the king realm. Moreover, there is a spatial array formation that can trap everyone and prevent them from escaping. It can also prevent us from being trapped. It can be said that as long as they come in, they will definitely die. The Crimson Dragon said proudly. So powerful? Ninth Elder and 10th Elder stared. Lin Xian also nodded with satisfaction. Not bad, not bad. However, the Crimson Dragon continued. Although it is powerful, it also has a weakness, and that is the range of the array formation. These arrays aren't very big, only tightly covering a mountain. If we want to make a move, we must grasp the opportunity. Otherwise, if some people can't come in, it will be futile no matter how strong the array formation is. Distance is a problem? Indeed, it seems like we need to have a good discussion. However, a mountain is enough, Lin Xian said. Following that, Lin Xian and the others began to simulate various battle scenarios. After everything was set up, Lin Xian began to appear in the vicinity from time to time. Not long after, he was discovered by the Duan clan. Reporting to young master that thief Lin Xian is indeed near Chongling Mountain, the scout reported. How many people are with him? Prince Ling Feng asked. He had already heard the news, but now that it was confirmed, he was finally excited. Only 2 elders from the palace of Ares. So few. Hearing this, many cultivators frowned. Prince Ling Feng also asked in a deep voice, "Are you sure you didn't miss anything?" No. The scout reported. However, they are very careful. Moreover, their movement techniques are very strange. They all have methods to conceal their auras. I only noticed them after a long time. I see. He must be relying on some special method to think that others won't be able to find him. That's why he dared to come out with 2 guards. Haha, he's dead for sure this time. Prince Ling Feng was also overjoyed. However, he didn't lose his rationality. We can't be careless. There might be experts hiding in the dark. However, so what if there are experts? This time, I'll bring enough cultivators. We must kill him. Listen up. Immediately gather 59th level venerables. I want 10 9th level peak venerables. Also, inform the Skynet organization to let Luo Bingshan bring a 5-star assassin and follow me. This time, Prince Ling Feng could be said to have mobilized all the forces in his hands. Peak 9th level venerables were extremely terrifying existences. One of them could destroy the secret villa from before. If 10 peak 9th level venerables stood together, even half-step kings wouldn't be their match. Only true kings wouldn't be afraid of such a formation. Not only that, but there were also countless 9th level venerables in the entire Skynet organization. One had to know that Luo Bingshan was the king of assassins who could assassinate peak 9th level venerables. To be honest, if he hadn't set up a king's killing formation, Lin Xian and the others wouldn't have been able to resist. But now, Prince Ling Feng's speed was very fast, like 10,000 bolts of lightning. Not long after, he led countless peerless experts and set off towards Chongling Mountain. Lin Xian had also received news from Luo Bingshan and was preparing with all his might. On this day, when Lin Xian left the mountain again, he finally realized that someone was watching him. Seeing this situation, Lin Xian was secretly delighted. Then, he quickly landed on the ground and walked towards the vast forest. Behind him, there were many people following. They were faintly discernible, but they didn't make a move immediately. Obviously, they still suspected that there were peerless experts guarding Lin Xian nearby. Soon, Lin Xian gathered the 9th and 10th elders and had them protect him by his side. Then, he slowed down again. The people behind him were still following him at a leisurely pace. Finally, someone couldn't help but make a move. A sword light slashed forward like a rainbow. Endless killing intent enveloped Lin Xian and the other 2. It was extremely terrifying. Chapter 1305. Finally, someone couldn't help but make a move. A sword light slashed forward like a rainbow. Boundless killing intent enveloped Lin Xian and the other 2. It was extremely terrifying. The 9th elder snorted and shattered the sword light with a punch. His gaze was like lightning as he scanned the surroundings. Who's there? Come out. As soon as his voice rang out, the surrounding air exploded like the roar of 10,000 beasts. However, no one answered him. There were only countless figures flashing in the distance. The 10th elder sneered. This group of people finally couldn't take it anymore. Should we kill them? There's no hurry. These people are probably just probing. Moreover, that Prince Lingfeng hasn't appeared yet. Let's wait a little longer. Lin Xian shook his head slightly. We must make them believe that there are only 3 of us and no extra guards. Only then will Prince Lingfeng appear. All right, the 10th elder sighed. They'll have a good time later. Then, the 3 of them shuttled through the forest again. However, after the previous probing, the people behind them were clearly bolder. Many of them even revealed their true forms and followed behind Lin Xian and the others. Instantly, the 9th elder and the 10th elder's faces darkened. This was because they realized that many of the people behind them had extremely powerful auras that far surpassed theirs. There were even peak 9th stage martial artists. Damn it, this Prince Lingfeng is really careful. He actually sent peak 9th stage martial artists. And there was more than one. The 9th elder's expression was ugly. If not for the killing formation, he would probably want to escape now. The 10th elder's expression was also gloomy. That's right. I also saw a few peak 9th stage martial artists. Moreover, they were all famous experts in the Palace of Gods of War. With such a lineup, even a half-step king would be defeated. Lin Xian's eyes flickered. Not only that, there are many assassins surrounding us. Those people are all 5-star assassins and can assassinate 9th stage martial artists. Some can even assassinate peak 9th stage martial artists. In the sky and on the ground, in all directions, there were Prince Lingfeng's people. It could be said that this was a death trap. Even a half-step king wouldn't be able to escape. One by one, the terrifying assassins were like dark gods of death, hiding in the surroundings, waiting to strike. In the eyes of these people, even 9th Heaven Venerables were prey, what more Lin Xian and the others. Fortunately, Lin Xian had subdued the head venerable of the assassin organization in advance. Otherwise, he would definitely be in danger now. The Crimson Dragon also stuck his head out and cursed when he saw the assassins around him. Damn, that guy is too vicious. He actually sent out so many people. Brat, I didn't expect you to be so valuable. Hearing these words, Lin Xian rolled his eyes. He was indeed valuable. Perhaps not even a half-step king could enjoy such a scene. Young master, hurry up and do it. I keep feeling uneasy. Yeah, these people are too powerful. They can kill us in an instant. If they suddenly attack and we don't activate the formation, we'll really be finished. The 9th elder and the 7th elder's faces turned ugly. The current scene was beyond their expectations. Moreover, they had never truly seen the might of a killing formation. Although the Crimson Dragon had exaggerated it, they still didn't have full confidence in their hearts. However, Lin Xian revealed a cold smile. No matter. Let's wait a little longer. We must lure them all into the king-killing formation. This time, I'm going to give the Duan clan a big gift. In truth, he originally only wanted to kill Prince Lingfeng. However, he had changed his plan now. He wanted to kill all the cultivators who came this time. This was because he didn't expect Prince Lingfeng to send out so many people. There were actually 10 peak 9th Heaven Venerables, 40 to 59th Heaven Venerables, and countless assassins. This number was extremely terrifying. It was probably close to half of the Duan clan strength. If these people were all killed, then the Duan clan's strength would undoubtedly be reduced by more than half in an instant. Hearing Lin Xian's words, the 9th elder and the 10th elder's eyelids twitched violently. However, they were soon overjoyed. If so many 9th Heaven Venerables and peerless experts died, the Duan clan would probably go crazy. When they thought of the Duan clan being heavily injured, the two of them couldn't wait any longer. In the distance, innumerable cultivators appeared like ghosts. Their terrifying aura was like a huge mountain, suppressing everything in the world. The birds and beasts in the mountains all prostrated themselves on the ground, trembling. They didn't know what had happened, but the aura was like that of a king, deeply suppressing them. The sky also darkened. It was as if a dark cloud had covered the sky. An oppressive aura spread out in all directions. It was as if a great battle would break out at any moment. Young master, we've checked. There doesn't seem to be any hidden elites in the surroundings. There's only that brat Lin Xian and the two elders. Only these few people. Prince Ling Feng smirked coldly. This brat is really bold. Up until now, he still had some doubts. However, in the next instant, Prince Ling Feng was overjoyed. This was because he saw that Lin Xian and the others in front of him suddenly rose from the ground and rushed into the sky. It was as if they wanted to escape. This meant that the other party was really guilty. However, there were already countless five-star assassins lying in ambush in the sky. At this moment, they were like ghosts. With shocking long rainbows, they ruthlessly slashed towards Lin Xian and the others. Instantly, they were pushed down the mountain again. Trying to escape? Not so easy. Prince Ling Feng smirked coldly. Now, he finally believed that Lin Xian didn't have any elites protecting him. Otherwise, he wouldn't have escaped so pathetically. Go. Break his legs first and make him kneel on the ground to welcome me. Prince Ling Feng's black hair fluttered in the wind. He was like an emperor looking down. Instantly, the 7 five-star assassins in the sky, together with a few ninth heaven supremacies, quickly flew forward. These people were very fast. They were like shooting stars, especially the 5-star assassins hidden in the void. They were even more silent, like ghosts. Lin Xian's expression was also grave. They couldn't activate the king's killing array now. They could only use themselves as bait to lure Prince Ling Feng and the others. Hence, they were in a very dangerous situation now. Elders, you must be careful. Lin Xian transmitted his voice. This was because the people who had come were all exceptional experts. Moreover, there were 5-star assassins. Although Ling Xian had completely grasped their positions, he still had to deal with them with all his might. After Lin Xian's warning, the surrounding martial artist assassins all moved. A terrifying aura exploded in an instant. Like a sudden clap of thunder, it lit up the entire sky. The aura was like a vast ocean, about to swallow Lin Xian and the others. Countless sword lights lit up in the sky. Like shocking rainbows, they ruthlessly pierced towards Lin Xian and the others with cold killing intent. When they moved, it was like a sudden clap of thunder. Prince Ling Feng's subordinates were definitely very strong. Attack! Lin Xian also shouted. His body was like a flickering shadow, instantly disappearing from the spot. The 9th and 10th elders also shouted angrily. The two of them joined forces and quickly resisted the attacks from all directions. Terrifying auras exploded one after another, causing the void to tremble. Countless gusts of wind blew, and many trees were instantly chopped down. Chapter 1306. Lin Xian unleashed his lightning martial soul, which resonated with the dark clouds in the sky. Instantly, countless bolts of lightning as thick as mountains shot out in all directions. Those early-stage 9th heaven martial artists couldn't escape in time and were instantly split in half. Blood mist filled the air, and the pungent smell of blood quickly spread in all directions. The 9th elder and the 10th elder also burst forth with super strong battle prowess, killing a 5-star assassin alive. That 5-star assassin's body fell from the void, his eyes wide open. Until his death, he still couldn't believe that the other party had discovered his tracks. Lin Xian and the other two's attacks seemed to have angered Prince Ling Feng. Very quickly, more figures rushed over from afar. The ground trembled, and the wind howled. It was as if countless Azuras were coming back to life. Lin Xian's body was covered in sword light, and he was like a peerless god of war. None of the supremacies who were targeted by him could survive. On the other side, the 9th elder and the 10th elder were also roaring. They had Lin Xian's warning and knew the location of all the assassins. Therefore, although they were in danger, they weren't hurt. Not only that, they seemed to have killed many 5-star assassins. Finally, the actions of Lin Xian and the rest angered those 9th heaven supremacies. One of the 9th heaven supremacies charged towards Lin Xian, while the other charged towards the 9th elder and the 10th elder. The 9th heaven supremacies were very terrifying. Once they attacked, they unleashed great magical powers that could tear the heavens and earth apart. Lin Xian and the 9th elder were forced to retreat. Lin Xian and the ninth elder looked at each other. Then, like lightning, they soared up and flew towards the mountain peak in the distance. This was what they had discussed before. As long as the ninth heaven supremacies attacked, they would retreat immediately. Chase. We definitely can't let them escape. In the distance, Prince Ling Feng revealed a cruel smile when he saw this scene. He quickly chased after them with a large number of experts. Not only that, but he also ordered people to seal off the entire mountain peak. He had already thought about it. After capturing Lin Xian, he wouldn't kill him immediately. Instead, he would torture him to death. He would let him taste all the torture in the world. Only then could the hatred in his heart be dispelled. Soon, Lin Xian, ninth elder, and the others retreated to the isolated mountain. However, the surrounding assassins did not intend to let them go. Countless assassins sealed off all directions, and there were even peerless powerhouses that charged towards the three of them. Lin Xian snorted coldly. His expression was extremely solemn as a powerful aura burst forth from his body. He held the Lone Star sword in his hand and brandished it. Terrifying sword chi swept out in all directions. A middle-stage ninth heaven venerable was furious. He executed a powerful fist technique and punched forward. However, it was sliced in half by an incoming sword chi. A ninth layer late-stage supreme expert roared angrily. In his hands was a long spear, moving through the void like a flood dragon. However, he still couldn't stop that murderous sword. Other than venerables at the peak of the ninth level, no one could block Lin Xian's sword technique. Die, brat. A venerable at the peak of the ninth level flew into a rage. He raised his hand and struck out with a blood-red palm. Blood surged as if countless demons were screaming. A terrifying murderous aura enveloped the surroundings. Meanwhile, Lin Xian formed a seal with his palms and shouted, 9 transformations of the firmament, Dijiang transformation. Instantly, the void trembled, and a huge, strange bird appeared in the void. It had 6 legs and 4 pairs of wings. Its body was huge like a mountain, and its face was a mess. It was impossible to see its real face clearly. Not only that, but its entire body was also surrounded by blazing flames. It was like a divine flame bird, Dijiang, an ancient mutated beast. It was extremely terrifying and powerful. At this moment, when Lin Xian executed it, it instantly roared in all directions. In the next instant, the terrifying energy collided with the peak ninth heaven venerable, exploding with resplendent light. In the sky, the ninth heaven venerable roared angrily. He realized that the other party could actually contend with him. This was simply too shocking. One had to know that the other party was only an 8th heaven venerable, while he was a peak 9th heaven venerable. The difference in strength between the two of them was more than 10 times. How could the other party be his match? However, he didn't know that Lin Xian was proficient in many kinds of earth-tier martial arts. He could explode with more than 10 times the strength. Even a peak 9th heaven venerable might not be able to contend with him. Seeing that Lin Xian could actually contend with a peak 9th heaven venerable, Prince Ling Feng and the other peerless powerhouses were also shocked. To be honest, Lin Xian's strength was beyond their expectations. Especially Prince Ling Feng, whose expression was even more terrifying. Apart from being younger than him, the other party's talent and strength were not inferior to his. If he didn't get rid of the other party this time, he would definitely be the most difficult enemy to deal with in the future. So what if you can contend with a peak 9th heaven venerable? I have 10 peak venerable in my hands. I don't believe you can block all of them. Prince Ling Feng had unlimited confidence. Although the other party could block 1 peak 9th heaven venerable, it was impossible for the other party to block 2 peak 9th heaven venerable. Moreover, he had 10 peak 9th heaven venerable in his hands. Just in terms of strength, his side was far superior to Lin Xian by dozens of times. They were not on the same level at all. In front, just as Lin Xian used the 9 changes of the firmament to contend with a peak 9th heaven venerable, 8 mid-9th heaven venerable suddenly appeared around him. Their expressions were cold, and they were like killing gods. They quickly attacked Lin Xian as if they wanted to blow him up. A terrifying aura spread out, and countless cracks appeared in the void. It was too terrifying. When these mid-ninth heaven venerable joined forces, they were not inferior to a peak ninth heaven venerable at all. Lin Xian also sensed the danger and immediately snorted coldly. His body swiftly disappeared from the spot like a bolt of lightning. In the next moment, his body appeared in the sky. However, just as he appeared, the five-star assassins from Lord Alcohol attacked him. Lin Xian roared, and countless black flames surged out of his body. They turned into black waves that swept out in all directions. In the void, 3 five-star assassins couldn't escape in time. They were swallowed by the black flames and immediately screamed. Not long after, they were burned to ashes, and not even their bones were left. It wasn't over yet. Lin Xian's palm moved again and quickly formed the next seal. 9 changes of the firmament, Zhuyan transformation. Now, he had already used the first 4 changes of the 9 changes of the firmament. This was the 4th change. As he formed the seal, a huge red ape flew out from between his fingers. It quickly grew in the air like a giant. It was hundreds of meters tall and stood between the heavens and the earth. It was a divine ape. Its eyes were like lightning, and its palms reached the sky. It was extremely powerful. As soon as it appeared, it raised its huge foot and stomped on the 8 mid-ninth heaven venerables below. The furious dragon art and the 9 changes of the firmament, 2 earth-grade martial arts, burst out with power that was 10 times stronger than Lin Xian's. This stomp was not something those mid-ninth heaven venerable martial artists could resist. Poof, 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 poof. As expected, their bodies exploded and turned into countless blood mists that drifted in the forest. Lin Xian was like a god of war, killing everything in his path. He was incomparably valiant, shocking everyone. On the other side, the situation of the 9th elder and the 10th elder was not optimistic. Chapter 1307. On the other side, 9th elder and 10th elder's situation was not optimistic. They weren't as strong as Lin Xian, so they couldn't fight against a 9th level venerable realm cultivator at all. They could only retreat, and this was with the help of the Crimson Dragon. Otherwise, they would have been killed long ago. Lin Xian's face was gloomy. His figure was like lightning as he quickly arrived beside 9th elder and 10th elder. The lone star sword was like a bolt of lightning as it slashed out, instantly forcing the 9th heaven venerable to retreat. 9th elder, 10th elder, are you two all right? Lin Xian asked with concern. We're fine. Our bones are very tough. Their faces were pale, but they did not suffer any serious injuries. Although they were not injured, their expressions were not relaxed at all. They looked around and frowned. The entire mountain was surrounded by a black mass of martial artists. They had been completely sealed off. Among them, there were a large number of 9th heaven venerables. There were even 10 9th heaven venerables who had sealed off all directions. Not to mention them, even a half-step king would not be able to escape. Kid, I have to admit that you have indeed exceeded my expectations. In such a situation where you were bound to die, you were still able to kill so many of my guards. A cold voice sounded out. Then, the crowd dispersed. A tall and handsome youth walked through the air with several 9th heaven venerables following behind him. The youth was dressed in a golden robe. His black hair was like a waterfall, and his gaze was like lightning. His expression was cold without a trace of emotion. This was the famous Prince Lingfeng of Sky Martial Continent. Seeing Lin Xian and the rest surrounded, he finally came out. You are Lingfeng? Lin Xian looked forward. This was the first time he had seen him. I have long heard of your name, but it seems that you are nothing much. Lin Xian sneered disdainfully. What did you say? Hearing this, Prince Lingfeng's face immediately darkened. Kid, you are courting death. The surrounding martial artists also shouted coldly. You dare to be disrespectful to young master? Quickly kneel down and kowtow to apologize with your death. On the other hand, Lin Xian raised his head and laughed arrogantly. Humph, how impressive. Did he really think that he was a king? How dare you ignore everything? Although I'm not a king, I'm more than enough to deal with you. In front of me, you're just an ant. Prince Lingfeng's face became cold again. Lin Xian sneered. Is that so? Since you're so confident, Do you dare to fight me one-on-one? Just the two of us. This is a battle to the death. No one else is allowed to interfere. Lin Xian's voice was sonorous and resounded in all directions. This is a matter between the Lin family and the Duan family. Why don't the two of us settle it? Do you dare to challenge me to a duel to the death? Lin Xian pointed his sword at Prince Ling Feng. One-on-one? You? Prince Ling Feng was stunned for a moment, then he threw his head back and laughed. What? You don't dare? Lin Xian stared straight ahead. It's not that I don't dare, it's that I'm not worthy. Who do you think you are to fight me? Prince Ling Feng sneered disdainfully as if he was a god. To be honest, only the other 3 princes of the younger generation on this continent can fight me. The others don't even have the right to fight me. You don't have the right either. Prince Ling Feng's black hair fluttered in the wind, and his aura was abnormally strong. He was like a god of war as he walked forward step by step. With every step he took, the void trembled and the ground cracked. Those behind him also moved forward. 1 step, 2 steps, 3 steps. Looking at this scene, the Crimson Dragon was ecstatic. This is great. The other party has already entered the king's killing array. It's not just him. The surrounding people have also entered. I'll activate the spatial array now and seal them all here so that they won't run away. The Crimson Dragon was very excited. He quickly waved his dragon claws and quietly formed a spatial array at the outermost periphery. This array was very magical and could prevent these people from running away. To be honest, he hated Prince Ling Feng very much. This was because the other party's arrogant attitude made him very unhappy. He couldn't wait to step on him. Hearing the Crimson Dragon's voice transmission, Lin Xian was also ecstatic. This is great. The other party had finally fallen into his trap. His previous act was not in vain. Brat, to be honest, I'm not interested in someone like you because I can destroy you with a single finger. Prince Ling Feng's expression was arrogant as he looked down on everything. But don't worry, I won't let you die so easily. I'll first break your limbs and break all the bones in your body. Then, I'll pull out your tendons and skin you alive. I'll also make you my slave. I'll let everyone know who the real young master of the Palace of Aries is. At the end of his speech, Prince Ling Feng's handsome face was unusually ferocious, and his eyes were bloodshot. Obviously, he cared a lot about the title of young master of the Palace of Aries. Originally, as long as the Duan family took over the Palace of Aries, this title would be his. He would then become the most dazzling person in the younger generation of the Tianwu continent. However, halfway through, it was snatched away by Lin Xian. This drove him crazy, but now it was all good. Soon, he would be able to take back this title with his own hands. After this battle, he would still be the 4th prince of the Tianwu continent, the most dazzling person in the continent, and the other party would be his slave, a dead dog. Thinking of this, Prince Ling Feng couldn't help but raise his head and laugh maniacally. The peerless powerhouses around him also had cold smiles on their faces. However, at this moment, a ray of light suddenly lit up. A terrifying murderous intent erupted like a flood, engulfing the heavens and the earth, causing everyone to go crazy. A terrifying blade light pierced through the void, ruthlessly slashing towards Prince Ling Feng. What? No. The group of people were shocked. Their eyes widened in disbelief. That maniacal laughter also stopped abruptly, as if someone was choking them. They couldn't believe that there were hidden experts around who dared to make a move on Prince Ling Feng. Prince Ling Feng was also stunned. The smile on his face turned ugly. He didn't expect that when he was at his proudest, someone would dare to make a move on him. Furthermore, that blade light was too shocking, causing him to feel a sense of trepidation. Now, those peerless powerhouses could no longer be counted on. That blade light was too fast, arriving in front of him in an instant. At this critical moment, Prince Ling Feng roared angrily. A blue battle armor quickly appeared on his body, covering his entire body in an instant, leaving only his eyes exposed. Clang! In the next moment, the shocking blade light ruthlessly slashed towards him, slashing onto the battle armor, producing a deafening sound. The terrifying force sent Prince Ling Feng flying, crashing into a small mountain beside him. Young master, those martial supremacies at the peak of the 9th rank went crazy, running forward as if they had gone mad. As for the other warrior killers, they stared fixedly at Lin Xian, preventing him from escaping. Boom! The small mountain in front of them exploded, sending huge rocks flying everywhere. Prince Lingfeng walked out from the rubble. He was wearing a blue battle armor, looking extremely valiant. However, his expression was extremely ugly. The astral battle armor quickly changed, finally revealing Prince Lingfeng's face. There was blood at the corner of his mouth, clearly suffering from internal injuries. His eyes were like a venomous snake, extremely ferocious as he stared viciously into the void. You're tuning in to the Warrior Lore YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.